Yeah, full house.
Yeah.
You got two senators.
Yeah.
Delegate.
So.
It's like the Jumbotron.
Better not, yeah, for sure, me too. Try to work on mine. I think it's every time I speak here, we won't need it.
I said there was a lot more fun in the General Assembly before the cameras came along. I could see that.
Well, there's a lot of people eating lunch from that.
Yes. A lot of people eating food.
I wouldn't let me bring anything in, like, it's like water bottle, something.
Now we got like a full Sunday lunch in the cafeteria. And there's like ice cream. There's always like ice cream and soup. You can gain weight real easily.
Those things, a good place to get off, anything's long. Just can't take it in. Just.
So good afternoon, good evening, rather. The November 12th, 2025 meeting of the New College Institute Board of Directors will come to order. The time is now 4:03 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. My name is Eric Jones. I'm the chair of the Board of Directors here at New College Institute. I welcome our public and our guests for being here as we go through the business today. Before we begin, I wanted to remind everyone that this is a replay or redo of the meeting that we had in September. The Board of Directors, we attempted to carry out a meeting on September 11th. Unfortunately, that meeting was hijacked by a cyber attack, which, intruder came in, disrupted the meeting, which was very, very unfortunate. Since then, we have done the appropriate actions to contact the Federal Bureau of Investigation, the FBI, working with state officials. We've been cleared, working with Joe and the team. I want to say to the team on that day, great job for reacting to that. We were all virtual, all online. We got things kind of sorted out very cleanly. And then we wanted to take a little bit of a strategic pause because we needed to do the necessary precautions to work with the FBI to see if there was more to be followed up. Thank goodness there was a tremendous number of events on that same day that happened on that platform. So they think we were kind of caught up in the fray. There was no intent for anyone that was intending to necessarily come for us. We were just on in the wrong place, I would say, at the wrong time. But this meeting today is to conduct and reconduct the business that we were attempting to do on that day. Olivia will circulate a sign-up sheet for any member of the public wishing to speak who did not register online. So if you do want to make a public comment, Olivia Garrett will be able to take those names for you. And I'd just like to say it's great to be home. I always like to come back home and engage with the community. That's where I grew up. So I think, Olivia, we're ready for roll call.
And the public comment sign up form is right here on this table by the door. All right, roll call. Dr. Mark Crabtree. I think he's joining shortly. Miss Valerie Crummy Johnson. Mr. Jay Dickens.
Here.
Stacy Gordon. Senator Chris Head.
I'm here virtually.
Mr. Eric Jones.
Here.
Mr. Kevin Lane.
Here.
Delegate Destiny LeVere Bowling. Here. Miss Ashley Lockhart.
Here.
Mr. Michael Lunsgard. Mr. Lee Perlman.
Here.
Delegate Sam Rasool. Senator Kanan Srinivasan.
Present virtually.
Mr. Marcus Stone.
Present.
And Delegate Ren Williams.
Here.
All right, Mr. Chairman, you have a quorum.
So as we went through the roll call, I just want to point out a couple things. You did hear a new name. We will welcome Stacy Gordon. She is a member of the Virginia Manufacturers Association. She was their Director of Government Relations. She was a recent appointee who took the place of Dr. Rebecca Horner. She would not be able to be with us today, but I wanted to make sure I recognize that we did have a new member, send her a welcome, but board members feel free to reach out to Stacy as we are looking forward to her contributions to our board. And also, good to see that we have good representation from our legislative delegation. I think we had a clean sweep. So congratulations to Senator Head, Senator Shabashman, Delegate Ren Williams, Delegate Destiny LaVere Bowling, on your recent victories in our recent elections. So just wanted to point that out for those who are online today. And Delegate Rasul, who will probably be joining us later, he was a winner as well. So good that we have those intact. We do have a quorum present. The meeting is officially in session. First thing we'll do, we'll go back through about this time in the meeting, in our last meeting, the approval of the June 2025 meeting minutes were gone through, but we didn't finish the meeting, so we need to go back and approve those. The minutes of the June 12, 2025 board meetings were technically approved in September prior to the cyber attack, but to ensure proper compliance and the record continuity, the chair will entertain a motion to reaffirm the approval of the June 12, 2025 minutes.
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to approve the minutes. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, vote by the sign of aye.
Aye.
All
Aye.
opposed? The motion carries. So next, we have on the agenda, the approval of our electronic meeting policy. Our annual review of the electronic meeting policy is due. The last approval was in October 2024. Adam Kane, who is our Office of Attorney General representative, provided a brief overview of the amendment. But Adam, if you wanted to go into that at this time, the floor is yours.
Sure. So, as Eric had mentioned, this needs to be updated annually. The newest version that you all have is essentially the same. The only change is in section 3A3, and this pertains to how individual remote participation would be approved. It grants approval upon the notification to the board liaison, and if anyone from the board disagrees with that, it can be put before the board, and the board can take a vote to approve or not approve the individual participation. Aside from that, the policy is the same.
All right, Olivia, did you have any comments on that? Board members have any questions with that? So at this point, the chair will entertain a motion to approve the 2025 electronic meeting policy as presented.
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to approve the electronic meeting policy. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, vote by the sign of aye.
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 All opposed? Motion carries. At this time, I think it's a very important portion of our meeting. This is something that, as chair, working alongside, former chair, Mr. Richard Hall, and we had talked about in the past is giving the partners of New College Institute an opportunity to inform the community of the activities that are going, and it's specifically our board. We have board members, as you see, we have board members represented across the state. This is a state organization, and it's good to hear what's going on local and what the partnerships are doing and how our partners feel about the relationship. So at this time, we'll move to that part of the agenda. And we appreciate our partners joining us today to share their program updates and insights. I will request that, due to time, you keep those comments to 5 minutes each. And first, we'll be joined by our partners, Longwood University, Dr. Pamela Randall, Associate Professor and Education Coordinator of the Longwood Education Programs here at NCI.
Hi, we'll be extremely brief. Nice to be here. It's nice to see all of you. For those of you on the board that may not know, Longwood University was the first partner to sign an agreement to come to NCI. And we're the only partner that has been here continually, through thick and thin and COVID and everything else that's been thrown at us. We've graduated somewhere between 100 and 125 teachers specifically for this area. Over 90% of those people are still in education. So I would say that we have one of the best education retention rates of any program in the state, pretty confidently. I did bring two students with me today to meet you, and I know we have 5 minutes, so we'll save a lot of our time to talk about GYO, which is, I think, what we really wanted to celebrate today. But first is Scotty. Scotty is a brand new student this fall. But to add anything about why you're here.
So I'm Scotty Henry. I don't do very well with change, so having this opportunity to have this building, and teachers that we have, it's just amazing. I found a love. My dream doesn't seem so far away. It's right here in my hometown where I've made my mark in life. So I'm very grateful for the opportunity and getting the time to express that to you all.
The other thing that Longwood is fortunate to have been involved in, for those of you that are in positions with, especially the government, Longwood applied with our local partners, Patrick County, Martinsville City, and Henry County, for the GYO program, which is the Grow Your Own initiative, which was funded through the federal government, then to the state level. It used ESSER funds to allow students who were paraprofessionals already in the school systems to go back to school to finish that bachelor's degree, free of charge. Pays all tuition, all praxis testing, textbooks, pays for everything. So our financial partner is here today for the first grant. Henry County went, signed on as the person handling all the billing, which we're so grateful for it. We received a little over $250,000 with that grant. We applied for the second round, received about the same amount the second round, and Longwood is the fiscal awardee for that grant. We'll have our first group of graduates in May under the GYO program, and I think I'm most excited to say that several of these GYO parapros found themselves in the situation this fall where teachers left for whatever reason, and superintendents called and said, hey, we have one of your GYOs, can we just slip them into a classroom? And it was very nice to be able to say, yes, we have an agreement for that. You can do that. We will support them and we will be there to make sure they're successful. So my other student is here to talk to you about that opportunity.
Hi, I am Peyton McKinney and I am in my senior year. I was a special education teacher assistant at Patrick County High School last school year, and then I was transferred to Departmental Memorial School, and then I applied for a teaching job at Patrick Springs, so I'm now a seventh grade teacher. Without the grant, I would not have been able to do this until I got my license. They paid for everything. It's a blessing. Especially just getting married. So I'm very grateful to them.
And just to put it in perspective for you, parapros don't make a lot of money. And on top of having a lower salary, in order for them to get a teaching license, which has always been the struggle, they could stay in their job through student teaching, but then they had to quit their job.
Right.
So they lost their medical insurance, they lost their income, they gave up everything to be able to, and I've had many students do that, but it is a very hard road. So this GYO program allows them to keep their job and finish that degree. So those of you that are in political positions, I'm just saying, the new GYO grant has not been released, and we keep saying, we need this grant again, because this current grant ends, in this, yeah, I see some head shaking, thank you. This current grant is getting ready to end, and I have a whole line of parapros that are working with Henry County, that are working with Patrick County, that are working with Martinsville City, with Patrick Henry Community College, which is our partner in all of this, to finish up their associate's degree so that they can now finish this bachelor's degree. So we need your support to make sure that that funding is still provided so these people can fill our classrooms. So any questions about Longwood or anything about the program?
Just a programmatic question.
Yeah.
So currently today, how many folks are enrolled in the process for GYO?
Yes, well, GYO has 13 in it right now. The overall program has 27. So we have 27 students in the pipeline to finish their degree. I have 4 that are student teaching currently. Another 13 student teaching in the spring, so they'll be ready for jobs. So, this program has steadily held between 20 and 30 at all times, even through COVID, which was quite challenging, but, it's been, this is my 14th year. So we've had a very solid participation in it, and it sounds like I'm bragging, but I'll just say this, a principal told me yesterday at Meadows Dam. She said, when we get applications, I sort them and I put the Longwood applications at the top. Your people get the first crack at jobs. I think that's why they stay in their jobs. They're well prepared, they're hometown people, they want to be here, they want to work, and we want them in our classrooms. So,
Thank you.
any other questions? Well, thank you for this opportunity. I'm glad to be able to share the program. Thank you so much. We're going to class.
Yes, I heard the class. Olivia, I would ask, since we have the YouTube being streamed, is there a political place that?
I'm trying to have those
Okay.
up front and we can move on chairs.
Okay. So thanks to Dr. Randall for that, update. Next up, we'll have the,
Is your hand?
National Society of Black Engineers, Ms. Helen Howell, coming to present. She has a few students with her as well. One of our prize programs here at NCI.
Good afternoon.
Hello.
Who else? Good afternoon. Thank you all so much for having us here today. We're so excited about having the children here. And they have some things to do, so we're gonna let them do some of their things, demonstration, and then I'll talk about, I have a PowerPoint and go through the things after they can do that, so they can go into the activities there. First, we're gonna have our 1080. They went to nationals in Chicago last year. And this was the first time our middle school kids had participated, and they came back with first place. And so we're really excited. They're gonna come up and talk to you about it.
Good evening, everyone.
Hello.
We are Spartan Motorsports. We are one of the teams from NSB. We're missing 3 of our team from this past convention. 1080 is basically where the students have to put together a race car. They have to build it. They have to know how to put the tires on. They have to know how to put the battery in. So they have to be able to build the car to race it. Also, we have what is called in NASCAR pit crew. So we had the only all-female pit crew. Also, we had the smallest team at the convention this year. We went against students who have 1080 as a curriculum. So this is something that they do all year long.
Every day.
We started back in probably November to get ready for March. And we only got together once a week. So for our students to be able to do that and be the smallest team they had, and this was our first year having a middle school team, and to be able to go and race against other students who have done this for at least 5 to 10 years. Our first year, we got first place overall racing. Ms. Howell likes to pick on me a little bit because I anointed, I don't know if anybody's Christian or whatever, but I anointed the tires, I anointed the battery, I anointed our students with anointing oil, and I prayed over them. And there's one thing that I told the parents for our new students is that if you have a problem with me anointing your children, then I don't know, I'm gonna anoint them anyway. And we do believe in praying before we start our races. Also, we only had 4 students that race. We had the driver, which is our son. And I'm sorry, my name is Keisha Law. I didn't even say my name, I'm sorry. I'm the head coach. This is my husband. You can introduce yourself. This is Kim. He's the other coach. This is our son, Josiah. He was our driver. I'm very thankful, to, Ms. Hall, thankful to NCI for always supporting NSBE. Um,
Okay, so while she's thinking about something else, let me go ahead and correct Ms. Howard. It wasn't last year we went, it was this year. It do seem like that's the proper language to use and whatnot, but yeah, because it was that, but as far as 1080 is concerned, we just chaptered this through NSBE or whatnot, but 1080 is pretty much worldwide. Um, we went against students, when we went to nationals, well, of course, we got invited to the national 1080, not national, not NSBE, but this national 1080. We didn't place, and that because we were going against teams that came from China, teams that came from Africa. I think Brazil was there, Honolulu, Hawaii. So they came far and wide to compete in this. So they've been in there for a while, in this and whatnot. And it wasn't a middle school, high school, whatever. It was just 1080. So either you were good or you weren't. They didn't give you any leeway and whatnot because you were in high school or whatnot. So we didn't place, but we did get invited, and it was a blessing just to be able to be invited to that. We learned a lot just by going to that. And to give you a perspective about the car, a lot of people, when you hear RC car and whatnot, you think toys. Well, as I tell my students, this is not a toy. Some toys do cost $1,600, but not this one. This is an expensive car, and it can really go. If my son wants to demonstrate it for you all, that's fine. It's pretty fast.
yeah.
Hey,
Sure.
And also, we went against students, teams that came with, you know how like in different garages, they have like the big cases and stuff. They came with cases, they came with
Oh, God.
drills. We came with a suitcase
Bang.
and a bag and a screwdriver. But our students did awesome. They did great. We also have two of our new upcoming 1080 students.
Yeah.
They're gonna present with something else, but they're here. And so, but we're thankful to your all support for our team.
And also, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, but the design of the car. We won first in design of the car. Also, we do have the trophy with us. We neglected to bring this in our car.
it's okay.
But there were some really, really top-notch looking cars there, ranging from Lamborghinis, Mustangs, Corvettes. You name it, they had these cars and they were immaculate. But this car we had wrapped.
Yeah.
And it's, I mean, we didn't have any clue of what really to actually do because this was our first time going. It's just by the anointing that, we got this right here. And like I said, did you?
And also dealing with 1080, it's a big curriculum. So they have to learn how to market themselves. They have to learn how to go and ask for sponsorships to be able to help with tires, because tires are not cheap, batteries. So they have to be able to go out and be able to market themselves and market their team, which our company is Spartan Motorsports. Also, I want y'all to know, if a lot of people know Waddell Scott. Wendell Scott. The back of our car is in dedication to him. And I think he has a place, his son has a place here, which I'm proud law for Lancer. But we did have him on the back as honoring a NASCAR pioneer. But we're gonna stop talking.
Is that us on the hood? Is that me
Yeah.
on the hood?
Mhm.
Okay, I was.
Yes.
Yeah.
Y'all on our shirts, y'all everywhere.
On here, y'all on here.
So the students are in charge of the design and
Yeah.
all the components of it.
Yes, now he's the one who does show them how to do the tires and stuff. I just do the curriculum.
All right, so let me ask, is anybody here familiar with NASCAR? I mean, you're race heads. Are you race heads? Okay, so you know that in dealing with NASCAR, where their money comes from, it comes from sponsorship and whatnot. This is how we had to approach this, do it exactly the same way. With that right there, that's why you see all of these names and whatnot on there. This is part of their marketing that they actually have to do on there. And we did actually have some marketing that we did while we were there. We gave away, y'all seen those little cars that you pull back and let them go and whatnot, all that. We gave those things away to put our name out. We actually had some team members there from another team that actually wanted to join us. They with another team, they wanted to come and join us when we were winning. So it consisted of 4 races. You have one 5-minute race, one 10-minute race, one endurance race, which lasts 30 minutes. That is designed to test your pit crews. Because 30 minutes on this car right here, you're gonna have to change something. You're gonna change the battery, some tires, something like that. So it's designed to test the pit crew. I say it again, everywhere I go, we had the baddest all-girl pit crew in the land. The things that they were doing with their hands, the other teams couldn't do with drills. And I mean, to pitting, they had their drills out there, their electric screwdrivers and all that stuff. He didn't have none of that stuff. We had these 3 girls who pulled their car in. When he pulled the car in, they stripped this car down with their hands and put it back together with their hands, get it back out on the track. So we can run just like you see in pit crews when you go to a regular race, whatnot. That's what they did. Thought they were gonna be here, but it's a school day, so. Right. Unfortunate for that right there. But as far as the inside of the car and whatnot, I don't know how many of you, I don't have one, but I don't know how many of you have electric cars that's out there and whatnot. That's pretty much the same thing as this. There's the parts that are on it and whatnot. You gotta do preventive maintenance with that and replace, all these different little parts on here. That's why I said it's not a toy. It's very much so a real, car. It just don't run on gas. That, pretty much is it. And like I said, as far as, like, NASCAR and what have you, and I forgot to tell you about the 4th race. The 4th race consists of a collaboration. They pick the 2 best teams that were there, and they make you team up with them. One of them has a car that has absolutely nothing on it. No battery, no body, no tires, none of that stuff. That's one team. And they collab you with the one, like your car is perfectly together. So you start the race off and you'll do your laps. Now, when the director of the race calls for a pit, right then you have to take your car into the pit, and the other team, well, the pit group that y'all collab together, have to take everything off this car, put it on their car, get it back on the track, and then the other team races it. And it's all to test, how well you can collab together and what have you. That race we did not win. We came in third, I think. Third on that right there, out of the 10 middle school teams that we raced against and whatnot. But still and all, with all that right there, we came out first place overall. Out of all that and whatnot. So if you have any questions?
Well, I guess I can't be the only one with questions, but anyway, the race length, so we talked about the time. The size of the track, I mean, in NASCAR, like March Speedway is 1/2 mile, right? So is it a small scale track or is it?
It is small scale for these cars. The track makes just a little bit bigger than this room.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a little bit bigger than this room right here. For the track that has, like, the corners and edges and whatnot in it. Now, the circle track is probably gonna be about the size of this room and maybe half of the other. You know, for that right there. And they also have a drag racing, in there. Believe it or not, I didn't learn it until we actually got there. You do have drag racing, but you can alter the car, you know, to go faster and whatnot, so. Not exactly sure if we're gonna be doing that this year or not, but I'd like to, I really like drag racing. So, but, any more questions?
I guess so.
What's the actual speed of it? Top speed?
Really fast as you would like for it to go, because you can alter it to go as fast as you want to, you can.
You don't have the top speed, what is the top speed?
If I had to say top speed in regular cars, you know, just, you know, they dial it down a little bit with RC cars, but it probably, if you're going down the street with about 10, 15 miles an hour, here's another one when I pick through coming in now. If you're going about 10, 15 miles an hour, I can shoot by you.
Hmm.
You know, with this right here, I can even give you a head start. So for this right here, that's pretty fast.
Yeah. Well, Paul Williams, you know, I guess a while, they got over the turn, you get,
I'm sorry, say that again.
and his wheels on Paul, got really turn fast to get.
Yeah. Yeah, so it's, now, I got some bigger tires I can put on here. I'll catch you faster. Any more questions?
Keep anointing.
That's bad.
Thank you.
I would ask, I think it was a PowerPoint that was gonna be presented. I would ask Ms. Howell.
We're going to, we also did a biomedical competition. And that was 2 or 3 weeks ago. And our middle school kids who are here, a couple of the team members, they won first place. And let me tell you how this came about. Several years ago, the doctors and nurses in this area approached Nesbitt, and they were saying they saw too many amputations, too many heart diseases, all kinds of, and they said that, all kinds of diseases. And they said that the answer to this was education. So what they did, the first year, they funded it, they came with us, they helped us put the competition together, we wrote the rules, the guidelines and everything. And so we ended up with, teams of 4, and you select a disease that plague our community, and you do the research. And then you present it, we do it for the public, because we're trying to get everybody involved. And so, the doctors did the judging. They paid for it the first year, and they've been with us ever since. The doctors and nurses, they judge the competitions every year. So you have to be real serious. They'll call you out even if you call a medical term wrong. So this is the middle school team. They won first place. We had elementary, middle, and high school. And we had 7 teams, and we had 2 teams that came from Danville. So they're gonna show you what they did. They're not gonna go through the whole thing, they're just gonna see the highlights. So.
Okay.
My name is Robin Moore. My name is Destiny. Our part is definition of high blood pressure, hypertension. HBP is the force of blood pushing against the artery wall of the blood vessel. It is too strong, causing it to burst and hurt the heart and other parts of your body. Cause of hypertension. Eating too much salty or fatty foods like potato chips, french fries, ramen noodles, etc. lack of exercise, like just sitting on the couch, not moving around, stress, feeling angry or weary. Genetics, parents or grandparents had or have it. Smoking or drinking alcohol can damage your blood vessel and raise your pressure. Being overweight makes your heart work harder. Genetics and demographics. About half of all adults in the US have high blood pressure. About 1 in 5 people with high blood pressure are keeping it under control because some people don't know they have it. Older people have it more than younger people. Men get it more than women. African Americans have the most higher rates, followed by white, Asian, and Hispanic adults. In the southern part of the United States, there are more people with HPP than other part of the country because of the eating habits. Risk factors. Too much salty food cause your body to hold on the water like a swim. Eating too much junk food, like burger, soda, candy, are filled with grease and sugar can harm your body. Being a couch potato by playing video games, watching Netflix, texting, or searching social media can cause you a heart rate. So, stress can be very screwed and perpetuated. Eating too much salty food causes your body to no water. Effects of condition. HPV can cause an heart attack, heart failure, and regulation heartbeat. HPV can cause a stroke, dementia. HPV can cause a aneurysm that when your heart burns and bursts and bleed. HPV can also cause fat buildup, which makes it difficult to flow to your veins. HPV can cause kidney damage. Vision loss also is an effect on HPV. Treatments. Reduce salt, sodium intake. Eat. Eat more fruits, vegetables, lean protein, and whole grains. Exercise regularly 30 minutes a day of running, walking, or any sport. Maintain a healthy weight. Limit alcohol and avoid smoking. Prevention. Maintain a healthy weight through exercise and being a healthy eating. Manage your stress. Visit your doctor regularly. References. National Heart, Lung, and Blood Institute. SoberHealth. Cardiosmart.org/prevention. Cardiosmart.org/blood. Summary. High blood pressure / HBP is known as a silent killer because it could damage you before you know you have it. So it is wise to visit a doctor on a regular basis. HBP can affect your heart, brain, kidneys, eyes, and other parts of your body. To prevent some of these issues, eat healthy, exercise, avoid stress, don't smoke, and don't consume alcohol. And that is about positive for high blood pressure.
I really appreciate, that presentation specifically from NSBE because, one of the misconceptions about NSBE is it's all about robotics, it's all about, but people forget the science. The science in STEM, science, technology, engineering, and math. It seems like over the past, 10 years to 15 years with AI and things like that coming on the scene, we have forgot about the science of, us and just nature. So really appreciate that, Ms. Hoffman.
We had, the elementary, they did stroke, heart attacks, cancer. It was just all kinds of diseases that was pretty, we had 2 teams to come from Danville. We have,
over the years, we've gotten awards for this program itself. This year, I was invited to the Institute for Advanced Learning Research in Gainesville. And VCU was there, and I sat at the table with them, and they were very excited about it. They have asked that this is coming up year 26, but they can come and help take part with this with us. So we are just excited that we were able to do that. I wanted to say about the NASCAR here, there was 20,000 people there. And when they won that, I don't know who told them or what, before we left Chicago, we had a telephone call from Charlotte, North Carolina, inviting them to that race. So we're gonna go through the PowerPoint. NASB has, what they call the Golden Torch Awards. And that's the highest award that you can receive at NASB. So we, this year, for the first time, they did a Golden Torch Award for middle school students. And it's not easy. Every question seems like you're writing an essay. You gotta get recommendations, your grade point average, and they only pick one female and one male for the graduating seniors, and for the middle school, they pick one male and one female. And we won the female and we won the middle school. So this is Destiny Johnson, and you know, they get started all over everywhere, the magazines, the news and everything, and all the schools are after them. And her mother's here, tell them where she is, and she got a full ride.
She goes to University.
Right.
Majoring, and she's hoping to declare in mechanical engineering.
So we had about 5 or 6 students to win this. We had one, he was probably about 4 years ago. Brian Rocco was a graduate of Martinsville High School. And like I said, the schools come after them and they make their choice. And Virginia Tech, the president called me up and he said, he's not going anywhere, he's ours. He gave him the presidential scholarship of $50,000.
Wow.
He is now graduating in Northern Virginia working. Okay, let's go. Let's go to the next slide. So these are the 2 students. That's the middle school student. That's Anaya Maseko and Destiny Johnson. These are the 2 Golden Torch Awards winners there. And this is the black tie event that they went to. So can we play that? Can we hear the sound?
It's not gonna come through the big speakers. Alright, I got my live stream on Zoom here, so I'll look the Zoom.
So what they did, I was wanting you to hear, they had a 2-minute acceptance speech that they presented.
We can have that sent out to the board members and we can
Okay.
we'll make sure it's submitted.
Okay, so if you just move on to the next. This is the speech that they're gonna do. Okay, this team here, you see where they got first place, race events, Martinsville and Henry County. All on to the right, that is our math camps team, the middle school. These are the kids, they were competed. This year we got 2 math camps teams. Okay, next. And here's the entire team, so you only saw part of the media suit. To that. Next. And that's the car. And that's, you see some of the other cars there. So this is the math teams that are working. They did well. And this is our kindergarten students. We have the middle school and we had a high school team there. And these are some of the same students that was on the team. That's President Obama's house. And we are Lake Michigan there. And when we got there, the bus pulled up, all these black cars, security everywhere. And they stayed there until we left. But had he been home, we would not have been able to even go down the street. But because he wasn't home, they allowed us to do that. So the next. And that's Lake Michigan, his house. This is Chicago pizza. Kids have opportunity to do that. One piece. That was so. And again, that's Lake Michigan. We did a tour. So when we got there, we don't necessarily like for our kids to go and say we went to the convention and we competed. we try to, let the students, experience some of the culture where we go. And we left, Charlotte, North Carolina, of course, you know, we got a time, zone difference there, and we got there about 7 o'clock in the morning. We had a tour guide and a bus, and we spent the day, touring, in Chicago. We went to the museums, we went to the institutions, again with the Lake Michigan, and you know, we visit Cass's Place House also. So, amazing. And that's it. But one of the things I want to say to you all, the board, and to NCI, we just really appreciate having these students to be able to do these types of things. We go to Virginia Tech, they partner with us. But these kids would not have been able to have these opportunities had you all not helped to finance and help get these kids there. These kids are getting opportunities that they would never seen, and not even in Martinsville. But they, you know, being able to go and see these places, and now they got things to talk about, they got things to write about. And most of our students are now going into engineering. Mr. Summer and the staff here, they beckon out every cause. I'm telling you, they have given us rooms. We're up there 4 days a week, every night. We're there practicing in our competitions, our teams. We got about 8 teams that will be going to Baltimore, Maryland this year, competing. But the staff and everybody is, you know, they just reach out to us, and they are so wonderful to us, and we just can't thank them enough, because we. Even up at the King Building, they've given us rooms so we can just go practice and do our work. And Stacy has been there for me, she's like my right hand. She has been absolutely wonderful, and they have security there, so the parents we can bring the kids, and we feel very safe there because they have people there. They have technology people there to help us. I mean, we are being very successful because of these types of things, because we are being supported wholeheartedly by Mr. Summer and his entire staff. Even by some of the custodial staff, even helping us at times. But thank you all so much, because we just really appreciate what you are doing for our children. And we want them, they're gonna go out and be engineers, and they're gonna be the people that's gonna be leading us. Thank you so much.
And it looked like we gave some of them an opportunity to practice their floor speaking to delegation. Legislative leaders, so I appreciate that opportunity. But next, I would like to invite Dr. Amy Blake Lewis and Lisa Milner. Dr. Amy Blake Lewis is the superintendent of Henry County Public Schools, and Lisa Milner is the assistant superintendent of teaching and learning. Henry County Public Schools, I'll tap my secretary here to the left, has a special place in my heart as I'm a graduate. Nice to meet you. Ballpark High School, Axon Middle School, and Mount Olivet Elementary School. So,
and Axon is now an elementary school.
Right.
Yes. Fantastic. Pleasure to meet you.
Pleasure
Thank
to
you
meet
for
you
the
as well.
opportunity to speak with you all this afternoon, or it might even be evening now at this point. I think it's been a long day. I wanted to share with you just some of the partnership and collaborations that Henry County has with the New College Institute. We have grown that collaboration since my arrival here in Henry County in 2023. I think Mr. Sumner arrived about the same time, and he and I have been very deliberate and very intentional in crafting our partnership for my school division with New College Institute. So as Ms. Milner and I were thinking through some of what the most valuable partnerships have been, we started categorizing things by things that NCI helps us with weekly, some things that we do as an annual event, but also some things that are ongoing. And then we've got a particular work that's in progress that I'll share with you. So some of the weekly events, NCI has been a great support to our robotics team, the Shockwave robotics team. They provide support with their staffing who assist our students with their robotics creations and competitions. Of course, you've heard Dr. Randall already speak about the Grow Your Own through Longwood. But NCI also serves as a wonderful venue for us to host events. You may think that schools have large multi-purpose spaces, but you don't want to get 150 teachers in a cafeteria sitting on a little round seat about this big for an all-day professional learning event. So NCI is very gracious to provide space for us when we need to gather large numbers of our staff together and hold professional learning events and different meetings. You'll also see just some other listings of events that NCI has served as a host for through the years. I do want to point out the STEM parent involvement nights. Those are essential for us because, again, think about our schools that have 250, 350, even some of our elementary schools have 700 students in them, and trying to get all of those parents into the building at one time for a STEM event. And so NCI, again, has been very gracious to not only open themselves as a venue, but to also staff alongside of us and help with some of that STEM exploration with our parents and with our students. I will jump to the bottom just a little bit. Some of the summer camp, after school and weekend activities that NCI provides for our students. They have done some drone competitions with Build and Fly with VMI. Kid Wind, Game Lab, Girls Who Code, a code-a-thon event, and they are always very good to notify us when there are internship opportunities available for our students. Teacher opportunities as well. We have had great results with NCI providing some STEM exploration kits. I think those have primarily gone out to second grade, I believe it is, Mr. Sumner. And so there was some training involved for the teachers on how to best implement those. And of course, there's always that constant support from the different staff members here at NCI and STEMBot Professional Learning. I'm particularly happy to share with you about an in-progress partnership that's going on right now. We are looking at some curriculum development for career and technical education around advanced manufacturing. So we're very excited about the potential that the creation of that program may bring for offerings for Henry County. And I'm sure that Mr. Sumner can share a lot of dates with you for some of these upcoming collaborative activities. We would love to welcome you into Henry County Public Schools so that you can experience some of these partnerships firsthand. Thank you.
Thank you.
We'll now call up one of our newest partnerships, Gen Edge, the AL Philpott Manufacturing Extension Partnership. Ted Martin, our Director of Human Resources, and he is the Chair of the Henry County School Board.
I felt like you were probably going to mention that after I go after Dr. Lewis, but thank you very much for having me. And I will try to keep to the 5 minutes, particularly with everything, but and my other joke would be, since Longwood pointed out the longest, most consistent, I hope that we will be the latest and the greatest for you. And I also appreciate you pointed out our legal name, the AL Philpott Manufacturing Extension Partnership, because there's quite a few people who are like, how are you all based out of Martinsville? What's the story? So on and so forth. But and I believe most of you have our kind of annual sheet that we present to the General Assembly. And many of you thankfully joined on the tour and kind of exploration of our new office space partnership with High Bay, so on and so forth. But we are Virginia's manufacturing center. We are a local political subdivision of the Commonwealth of Virginia. We're a regional and statewide economic development authority. So I joke we're a little of everything. But we work with 300 manufacturing, primarily firms, a year. Every year, the data in front of you, and I'll make sure that this is available for the folks online. Although I would say our delegates and senators get a version of this every year. It's been updated to reflect that we have in fact now moved our headquarters into this facility, and that we have our executive director, Bill Donahue, is retiring, and that we have a new executive director, Scott Shine, confirmed at our last board meeting. But to speak to it, roughly a year ago, and for a while actually, we've been looking for a new location for our organization. We were located right next to parole and probation by City Hall. You've certainly heard of their flooding and other issues. Those occurred to us as well. And among other issues we were having, whether they be administrative with some of our other partners, the state recommended, well, why don't you guys get with NCI? And, down the street, they have space, they have equipment, you guys have experts, let's make this a thing. And so got with Mr. Sumner, and I have to report that, we've not had a better partner for, such an engagement. There were other bumps in the road from people who had to sign off on, some of these agreements, but I never had any issue with the staff here at NCI in making any of this happen. In fact, I'll even say the even more mundane things of, hey, we need this phone number to work over here. What's the situation? Get with Tayway in a day, it's fixed. So just wanted to again expend our thanks for that. But among some of the partnerships, and we have significant partnerships with a considerable number of the state's major public universities, some private as well. We are a public-private partnership. We are, and our existence is, our mission is to innovate, compete, and grow. We are here to assist Virginia's industry generally, but manufacturing particularly to fulfill this. So we are partnered with the National Institute of Standards and Technology. So we are the one and only here in Virginia as a manufacturing center. We also have a newer partnership with the Department of Energy to create what's known as the Virginia Smart Manufacturing Accelerator. Similarly, when we set up that program, we've been largely going around road showing with various partners, universities, colleges, et cetera, until we were able to more recently get in here to the high bay and start to bring in equipment, bring in experts, and we see a lot of opportunity for growth there. As mentioned in some of the paperwork in front of you, whether that be Old Dominion University, Virginia Commonwealth University, Virginia State, Virginia Tech. We're very excited about the possibility to provide a lot of training. For example, recently with Virginia Tech, we do a substantial amount of Lean Six Sigma training. We had about 20, roughly, including myself, I'll throw that in there, to pursue their certification in Lean Six Sigma. So that was based out of South Boston, but we would look to have those here in Martinsville and Henry County here at NCI. Seeing a lot of process improvement work, efficiency, et cetera, in the market lately, particularly when, you have kind of shock impacts of tariffs and other things that have been discussed at the federal level. So definitely want to point to that, and substantial growth in the manufacturing sector. They're good paying jobs. They might not be the same jobs as when Martinsville and Henry County was the primary driver of manufacturing in Virginia, but it is both the legacy of this community and a substantial component of Virginia's economy. And we're proud to represent Virginia in that way. Strong support at the state level and federally, bipartisan effort. I would just say the public generally is very supportive of, made in the USA, anything we can do to reshore, et cetera. And we do our best to support existing industry in that. I would note that on the sheet in front of you over the last 5 years, and this is an independent survey of our clients, we served over 900 different organizations, helped retain or create 6,385 jobs. 481 million in client investments, $2.4 billion in cost savings, 2.9 billion in bottom line impact. And on a rather consistent basis, we are between $2 to $3 million in state funding and roughly 3 to 4 million in federal funding, and then similar in client. The ideal is a third. We have offices based in Richmond and Newport News personally, and I've told this to Mr. Sumner. I did feel a little put back that I was based here in Martinsville at the headquarters, and Richmond and Newport News and Norfolk had much better locations until we moved in here. So I think we stepped up when we moved here, and very appreciative of the hospitality that we've seen. And we do believe that, having a facility that doesn't have like beware of dog next to it may well help us with our economic development efforts. And no offense to our friends, but also not next to parole and probation would help too. When you have them going to see us or vice versa, that parking lot share wasn't necessarily the best arrangement. But yeah, as well, you can see some of the different partnerships. One of the more substantial ones is we have student teams, kind of as you've had present here. with Virginia Tech. We've expanded that with Old Dominion University. There's also, of course, been talk of, and I'm doing a partnership with Old Dominion University with some manufacturing career exploration in some of the Tidewater school divisions. We'd like to bring that here in the Martinsville, Henry County area. My joke would be I'd like to stop driving 4 hours all the time to, whether it be Grundy, Newport News, DC, et cetera. The more that we can base out of here, the happier I'll be, at least. And I think that, that's certainly the intent of our name and our headquarters and so forth. So we're very excited about that. We've been involved with the advanced pharma cluster, primarily Petersburg and surrounding area, and substantial announcements there. To mention again, we have recently, and there's been so many different things moving on, but we recently received a up to new 10-year contract to be Virginia's manufacturing center. We were endorsed by the Youngkin administration to win that recompete. But speaking to some of the federal pieces, I believe we received our notice of award 4 days before the expiration of our last 10-year agreement. So, and similarly, we're impacted to a degree by, but thankfully we're somewhat insulated by being state, federal, and private sector funded by the governmental shutdown. So, looking forward to having it back open and being able to move forward with a lot of these initiatives, and we're looking forward to our ability to support NCI with use of the high bay and to our private sector, as well as regional and statewide partners, whether that be our colleges and universities, student teams, local school divisions, or any kind of, I know one of the comments was, what's kind of your ideal client, but I mean, we serve everywhere from, generally, if you have 20 to 25 employees, up to several hundred, but we also serve everything, including Huntington Ingalls, Newport News Shipbuilding. I can't go into who all our clients are, although there's little dots on the map reflecting where they are. Some of them we do have non-disclosure agreements with, or they don't want everybody knowing who's working with who and what advice they're getting. But we have a rather robust organization. We have more than 20 direct employees and 200 third-party contractors. So significant private sector expertise, and we look forward to bringing that to bear and different ways. And I would note that, and this is my first time speaking at a board meeting that's not my own in one way or another, so forgive me. But I would also say the Gen Edge board has 24 members. It includes community college presidents, university presidents, private sector CEOs, so on and so forth. Representing across Virginia, and we had our board meeting here in March as we explored this. And I would say that the Gen Edge board, my joke would also be that aside from director of HR, also like government relations, so I'm a mix of like Olivia, Christina, and Joanne, and a few other roles for your direct comparables here. But we're very much looking forward to ways that we can continue to grow this partnership and drive both organizations' missions when they align. And we feel that they align quite well from whether it be our workforce development or manufacturing focuses. And I know I've blathered. I'll leave it open to what questions or thoughts you may have.
Just amazed, and with the addition and you all moving in, just welcome. Thanks for the tour, Joe. Thanks for the tour earlier. I'm very happy with the progress that was made on that. I know we had a long time coming, but welcome. So anything you need from us, the contingent partnership will be appreciated. Anybody else have any comments?
Thank you all very much.
Thank you.
We're gonna have 2 other partner updates, but I think one has not come yet. A new partner that has came into the building, the Minority Business Consortium, Christy Harper, who is the executive director. She'll be coming in, so if she comes in, we may fit her into the agenda. And then our Piedmont Regional Criminal Justice Training Academy, Ben Ray, the executive director, was here but had to leave due to another engagement. So, just wanted to, give a, a real good shout out to our partners. I think the efforts that you see, from the middle school, K through 12, on up to the partnerships that we're working to get at both the state and federal level with Gen Edge, and then bringing in a school system like Henry County Public Schools, is really rounding out the programming here. So great job on that. And then, our NSBE is just, an extension of, what our kids do when they're put to the test. And I think, we didn't have them here today, but not the other robotics team we have here, they went undefeated through the years, correct? What's the name? Their name is
The Stags.
the Stags. Yes, the Stags went undefeated as well. So keeping up the winning tradition here in Martinsville. Now, we're gonna do things a little bit different than we usually do at this meeting. Speaking with staff, we're gonna open the floor for public comment. This is usually something that we would do at the end, but because our last meeting was disrupted, I thought it would be better to, we've had a lot of activity over the past couple months, so I wanted to be sure that the public had a chance to address the board. We hear their comments. I would ask that, during the comments, to be respectful, and those that are making public comment, limit your time to 3 minutes. The purpose to it is to ensure that all voices are heard in the community and the board, before the board takes up new business. So Olivia, I know you have been managing the sign-up sheet. I think I had here the one person that we had signed up. Do we have anyone else? Two.
Mr. Chairman, excuse myself, which does not justify that.
Do you want us to hold on public? Okay.
Which one's gonna go first?
Which is your first? All right, so our first will be Naomi Hodge Muse. I would like to say that to the board members who don't know, Naomi Hodge Muse was a former board member of New College Institute. So, Ms. and current president of Barnesville chapter and of ACP.
Thank you so very much for giving me an opportunity to speak. And somewhat heavy heart because of the confusion about whether or not we want to just walk away from NCI, turn it over to Patrick Henry. The rumors are tremendous. They're out there. And it is heartbreaking when Harvest walked away and reneged on its agreement to fund New College. We had been just twirling, and Senator Stanley was able to get us backing from the state, and we were able to stay open. New College is sitting here on Baldwin's block. This is the heart of the Black community. The Black community was not talked to. No representative from our community was spoken to. This was just out of the clear blue. We just need to disband. It's wrong, and it's wrong-hearted. There are too many opportunities, as you just saw Mr. Martin, and you saw Nesby. There are too many opportunities for NCI to be abandoned. It is totally wrong-brained. We can do so many things with NCI. I pleaded with this board 8 years ago to sue the Harvest Foundation for reneging on a promise made to the state. And we had all these lawyers on the board, and yet none of them saw fit to sue them, and they should have been taken to court. That didn't happen. Now they're still reneging on the money. And not one of them has a PhD, not one of them has the educational background to determine any curriculum for a university or a college. It's ridiculous. We should not be doing this. I'm pleading with you, I'm begging you to reconsider and put some energy to it. I worked at Miller for 30 years. I studied at the McKinsey Conference Center sponsored by the University of North Carolina in Raleigh. That is a wonderful conference center and an absolute blueprint to what NCI can be. We've got all of these industries here and no training available for managers or engineers. And if you go to the webpage, if you type in McKinnon Conference Center, University of North Carolina, Raleigh, they have online and in-person training. We have enough retired manufacturing managers, executives right here in this area with the expertise to do all kinds of training. But have we tried to do this? No. This is one sabotage after another, and I'm just too old to be upset. I beg you, young people, I beg you to have vision. Have vision. These children can be wonderful. We had a program at this place at NCI with Virginia State. And it was with the last 2 years, junior and senior year. They had a PhD come down here and taught at King Center. My surrogate nephew, the Lord didn't give me any children, but I adopted one. He went to that center. That young man's making $100,000 a year working for Dominion. He's an engineer, graduated from Virginia State. You don't have to have Virginia Tech as a partner, but you got Longwood, you could reach out to Virginia State, you could reach out to Old Dominion, you could reach out to Norfolk State. These are accredited universities that can bring the training that you need and the expertise. And everything does not have to be in person, it can be online. Go to the McKinnon Center, North Carolina, and use it as your blueprint. But do not let anybody walk away from this institution. We need teachers, we need engineers, we need people to stay in this community. This facility has become very loved by the Black community. It is our shining star. Please do not dismantle. Please do not dismantle. Thank you so very much.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Now, we'll have next, the Richard Hall. Richard Hall was the former chairman of the New College Institute. Board of Directors.
Fair. Well, this may be maybe a minute or so over, but I think it's important enough that that's acceptable.
That's acceptable.
Thank you. Mr. Chair, members of the board, you're going to hear a proposal today from Mark Crabtree described as an independent educational assessment. Before that happens, I think it's important that the record reflect a few facts. Because what you're about to hear is not new, it's not independent, and it's not supported by data. I served on this board for 7 years and worked to recover millions owed to NCI. During my time as chair, as you're aware, I was removed for asking tough questions that others didn't want asked. Accountability is not optional when public trust is at stake. In my years of working with NCI, I came to know this staff very well. They're the true victims in this kind of uncertainty. There are good, hardworking people here who show up every day to serve the community and the Commonwealth to carry out the mission they were hired to do. They deserve consideration and stability, not to be treated as political pawns. Something you guys may not know, 3 years ago, this same idea was proposed by the administration. Patrick and Henry taking over NCI. Senator Stanley and I had an outside analysis performed, determine exactly where Patrick and Henry stood within the Virginia Community College system. We presented those findings in Richmond in a private meeting with the governor's chief of staff and the secretary of education. The facts were clear. Patrick and Henry was in no position to take over NCI, and NCI had a unique codified mission that could not be folded into the community college system. The proposal died immediately once the facts came out. Given the gravity of seeing this idea revived, I filed a FOIA request to find out what exact analysis and data Dr. Crabtree used. What I found out is there was none. There was no analysis, no study, no measurable data. What was called an independent analysis was simply a facade presented as fact to solicit support before this board ever had a chance to review it. These FOIA actions weren't just premature, they were unauthorized by the board in direct circumvention of his fiduciary duty to NCI. They violated NCI's bylaws, Article 2, Section 1, and they violated the Code of Ethics, Sections 2 and 3, which require collective action, transparency, and loyalty to the institution above personal and political interests. Equally troubling, the FOIA materials showed Dr. Crabtree reach out directly to the chair of the Martinsville-Henry County Academic Foundation, suggesting those funds that are housed there be moved to Patrick Henry's foundation. That contact was not only completely unauthorized because only the board chair was permitted to engage with the foundation by this board's own vote, yet Dr. Crabtree acted independently, a clear breach of fiduciary responsibility and process. Every entity that touched this or has had anything to do with the facts and data or process, including the suspicious inclusion in the JLARC report that had to be retracted within hours of coming out after being inserted at Richmond's request. The board has a duty to consider proposals, but that duty must rest on facts, not an end run around the process. What happened here used Senator Stanley and Delegate Phillips as the backdrop of a tacit endorsement, even though neither reviewed a single document, verified a single fact, while excluding every legislative member of this board. Now, I'm sure Dr. Crabtree will be glad to answer those choices for everyone here today. The state's annual control audit, which is something I'm uniquely familiar with, having been involved in a number of these. It's the Commonwealth's independent review of each institution's finance and its governance. Tells the same story that it did 3 years ago. Patrick Henry carries multiple unresolved deficiencies, and NCI has none. The Commonwealth's own data confirm that Patrick and Henry continues to struggle to manage itself, much less assume responsibility for another institution. For the record, I was the strongest proponent of adding local members to this board. I believed and still believe that local voices are essential to NCI's success. But I assumed those who accepted the responsibility understood what the word fiduciary meant. The intent was never to replace governance with familiarity or politics, but to strengthen the institution through informed stewardship and accountability. Governance isn't about claiming to understand fiduciary duty, it's about fulfilling it. Those who accepted responsibility took an oath not to improvise. And I'll say this someone who spends a lot of time in Richmond. This is a really, really bad look for Martinsville. When local members disregard the legislative members codified by law to serve here, it sends the exact wrong message. For a community that claims it wants growth and credibility, this type of conduct tells Richmond, we still even haven't learned how to respect the process. To have local legislators endorse a proposal they never reviewed, to have the Harvest Foundation, our largest and most influential local institution, publicly support something it never analyzed, it's not leadership, it's reckless. I'm going to leave you guys with some questions. If this was only a proposal, as Dr. Crabtree alluded, why was there a need to go public with it? Why lobby outside entities without the board knowing? Why sneak around and count votes the day before? The answer is, if it walks like a duck, quacks like a duck, it's a damn duck. And this was nothing more than a strategic setup using a different messenger. No matter what this board decides, this proposal was dead on arrival in Richmond. The only question is, how much damage does this community take to its reputation in the meantime? Imagine if the same effort had gone toward making NCI the success it was meant to be instead of trying to rig the game. The record speaks for itself, and I stand ready to assist this board in any manner forward for NCI's future if it's guided by integrity, transparency, and the facts, not politics or convenience. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
We'd like to thank everyone who shared input today. Public comment is now closed. We will now move to the committee reports. I'll ask Lee Perlman to start with our finance report. Over to you, Chair Bozeman.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Are you gonna put anything up or? Okay, I wasn't sure. In your packages, you should have a couple of financial schedules and a couple of pictures. But before I go into any numbers, let me thank Christina, Joanna, for the great job of kind of putting this together, presenting the information in a way visually that I think makes it pretty easy to see the great job that Joe and the team are doing here. Bottom line is they're under budget for their spending, which I commend them greatly for being very disciplined in their spending. That is very intentional on their part. And when you look at the numbers, they're right on track from a personnel cost standpoint. If you look at
Is that burn? Are you talking about the burn rate?
Yeah. So if you look at this schedule, which shows budget, year-to-date numbers, about halfway down the page to the far right, you want to look over and find a 2.5% number. That's really the personnel costs. So they're a little under budget, which means they're right on track from a spending standpoint for their really largest line item. The other amounts are really pretty small because they are really holding off on spending money. Of course, anything, that you have to do, you're taking care of. But in just about every area, they are really holding back spending, which has them significantly under budget. And I think they're just being conservative and good stewards of the money.
Okay.
Yeah. Early in the year, taking care of the building as they need to, but there are some things coming down the road that will be significant that they'll spend money on. But for now, they're just being conservative, doing a good job handling the dollars. There's really not a whole lot to go into from the detail standpoint, because the story is the same. They're under budget on all of their line items. Just looking back at my notes real quick to see if there was anything significant that really jumps out. And there's really not. So for the sake of time, I'd just say, let's give them a pat on the back for doing a great job handling the money, being slow to spend it, and staying on track.
Yep.
Any questions?
Good.
Great.
All right. Our next committee update will come from our marketing committee chair. Is that Destiny? She's on Delegate Bowler.
Yeah. Hi, good afternoon, everyone, or good evening now. Just for time's sake, I wrote a nice long report, but I'm going to shorten it for us. So I'm pleased to report the Marketing Outreach Committee report. I'm really excited to share a little bit of the story of our continued growth and expansion this year. The past year has been one of real growth and expansion for NCI. Our visibility, engagement, and community outreach have all climbed significantly. And as someone in my own 9-to-5 job capacity who deals with these things, I can tell you NCI is really a beacon of something we should all aspire to achieve to when it comes to this type of growth that I'm about to describe. On social media, we're talking Facebook interactions have grew nearly 48%. Which some folks may go, what in the world does that even mean? If you're a nerd like me and do stuff like I do in my day job, it really means that folks are paying attention. And so our followers are up 14%. We're topping over 4,000. Our e-newsletter audience has grown by 28%, adding over 500 new subscribers, with open and click rates also rising, which is even more important. And it's showing that more people are connecting and engaging with our content, which allows for us to be better storytellers for what NCI does and what we can continue to do in our community. Our website traffic We've seen 37% increase, right? We're reaching 33,000 visits, which is again another clear sign that awareness of NCI is spreading fast. And our outreach has continued to be just as strong. This year, we've engaged over 5,300 individuals and reached nearly 2,700 K through 12 students through field trip and STEM activities, right? Our lecture hall and classrooms have continued to stay booked. We're talking more than 800 times, bringing roughly around 28,000 visitors through our doors. So that is really exciting. We've welcomed some new staff, a new event coordinator, and we've implemented a new facility fee structure with a waiver option for small nonprofits, right? It's helping us balance sustainability with community access. Our community presence continues to grow through all of our major events. So we connected with over 2,500 people with Smith River Fest, nearly 3,000 students at the Career Choice in Chatham, and reached thousands more through Stag's robotics team at Oktoberfest and Halloween. So, you know, there's more I could go into, but looking ahead, I think we should all be very excited that we're going to be rolling out a new venue management system. We've got new commercials launching during peak seasons. We also having a new podcast that's coming down the pike. And we're releasing new partner packets that will tell NCI's story more effectively and efficiently so that we can garner more partnerships locally and also across the state. So in short, long story short, our outreach is working. More people know about NCI, more people are engaging with us, and our partnerships and our visibility continues to grow. So just need to thank you all for your ongoing support and making the momentum possible. Thank you to the staff for doing all their hard work and keeping me on task. And I'm so excited to see where we land here soon as we end out this year and go into fiscal year 2026-27.
Any questions for the Devlin?
She sounds like a local.
Now we'll have our workforce and academic report presented by Ashley Lockhart.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. You guys heard a lot about partnerships already today, so I'm not going to repeat any of them that are related to workforce. So I'm just going to add some additional Q1 accomplishments and some Q2 initiatives. So for the accomplishments, in addition to what you heard, we formalized the MOU with the City of Martinsville Adult Education Program. The WIN industry training had additional 50 certifications. The testing center had 195 exams taken. And the expanded EduTech library with Patrick County and Franklin County Public Schools, both are using NCI STEM bots for educational purposes like coding, agriculture, and environmental science. And then for Q2 initiatives, submitting the National College Testing Association accreditation, finalizing as an ACT Work Keys assessment provider, finalizing as an NCCER certification provider, establishing industrial safety training program, establishing custom training programs requested by regional manufacturers, other state agencies, and nonprofit organizations. And additionally, I have been working with Olivia separately on a project related to high demand jobs in the West Piedmont region. We identified 60 high demand jobs that are available or that are for the region. And we need to continue to look at the commonalities among the jobs that are in the region. And then do a cross check with what's available at the community college system nearby so that there's not any competing priorities and programs. And that's all that I have for my report.
Any questions for Ms. Lockhart? Thank you for that update. That closes our section on committee reports. We'll now move to the next section in our agenda. And this is where we will have discussions on the, from a new business perspective, discussions on the Patrick and Henry Community College proposal that was proposed by Dr. Mark Crabtree. One of the things I would like to say about Dr. Crabtree today is unfortunate. A medical emergency has kept him away from the meeting today. So I think either Lee Perlman or Jay Dickens, would you all be presenting, would one of you all be presenting the proposal?
Or both?
Or both?
Mr. Chair, I don't know Mark as well as some of y'all in the room. But I think suffice to say is that has a pretty difficult situation going on. I think he'd rather be here than be in the emergency room. He did give me a statement he was prepared to read this evening or this afternoon. And if you would allow me, I will read the statement that Mark prepared. Is that right?
Yes.
Yes, sir. Can't do a Mark impression. First, I apologize for the unplanned sequence of events that led me to releasing my proposal before we were able to meet. To develop a proposal like this, I was extremely sensitive to the impact it would have on the staff and board members. In this small town, word travels fast, and the deluge of FOIA requests created a toxic environment that risked bad information being reported. I felt making my proposal public for all to see would more accurately reflect the full and true details of what I was proposing. So I'm sorry that it turned out the way it did, but I assure you, I always made it clear that this was my work with the proper consultation to ensure that the proposal was valid and supported in the community, the very community that gave birth to NCI and supported it through the years. Also, I made every attempt to assure everyone that I spoke to was aware that I did not speak for the board, but only for myself and this idea. I've attempted to inform you all to the best of my ability of the evolution of the resolution, and unless there is an objection, I will highlight each of the clauses and then move its adoption to get it to the floor. And at that time, this board has the responsibility to decide if this new exciting direction will benefit the people of the Commonwealth, our region, and especially Martinsville and Henry County. As by way of background, NCI was officially established by state charter as an educational institution located in the Martinsville and Henry County area, with its primary mission to expand educational opportunities, develop a skilled workforce, and diversify the region's economy, which had historically relied upon tobacco, furniture, and textiles. NCI sought to achieve these goals by partnering with other higher education institutions and engaging with both public and private sector organizations in the region and in the Commonwealth. It aimed to be a catalyst for economic and community transformation by leveraging resources and facilitating the development of technology and a trained workforce needed for new economic enterprises. After thoughtful analysis, I and others felt the most crucial step we can take in empowering the next generation of Virginia's workforce is to facilitate the establishment of the Patrick and Henry Community College Center for Workforce and Economic Development at the Baldwin Building. The efficiency and effectiveness of the region's overall educational levels, economic development efforts, and the quality of the region's workforce will achieve great improvement with the establishment of the P&H Community College Center for Workforce and Economic Development, which will lead to greater economic opportunities for the people of Martinsville, Henry County, South Side of Virginia, and the Commonwealth. Further, the alignment of several regional workforce development agencies will serve to accelerate the community's growth and maximize the overall economic development attractiveness of the area for future employers. Patrick and Henry Community College is committed to economic mobility and to enriching the quality of life in our region through academic excellence, educational affordability, student success, workforce development, and community engagement. And we are very confident that P&H will use the building at Baldwin to further advance the futures of students in Martinsville, Henry County, and beyond. We look forward to supporting this exciting new direction for Martinsville and Henry County and the Commonwealth of Virginia. Statements closed.
Thanks, Cole.
So, Mr. Chairman, guess I need a little guidance. I'm not sure, we haven't spoken to Mark to find out if he intended to read this full document or just kind of hit some highlights and then present it as a motion.
Yeah, I think we will, if you want to hit highlights of the proposal. I think there's an opportunity after a motion is made that we will have discussions.
Okay.
But if you want to hit highlights
Okay.
of the proposal.
You have the document in your package. It's 6 pages. So first page is really just some background on NCI, giving a little bit of historical perspective. Then it goes and talks about the mission of NCI. On the next page, there's a bit of discussion about the Virginia Community College system. Again, goes into kind of mission-oriented comments. Third page, starts into really I think the meat of, what Mr. Crabtree was really focusing in on, as far as the needs of our area and a focus on workforce training, and talking about some of the partnerships and different things that P&H, does in our community, and they're partnering in economic development activities, really on a daily basis. Starts talking a little bit about, then goes into community support. I will say one thing, as a local board member, once becoming a board member, I know I personally felt like one of my roles is to be a cheerleader in the community. And when I went into the community, cheerleading about NCI, I got a lot of feedback about NCI. And I think, what Mark was capturing in this document, there's a lot of whereases. Is where he also went into the community, had a lot of discussions, and got support and commentary back from a lot of organizations on a path forward for NCI. Eventually goes on, and I think the motion language probably starts with the resolved wording on page 5. And again, it's rather long, so I don't know if, again, I'm just kind of winging it here. Do we want to go through the resolve items or go to the last 2 items, which really, I think, get to the action?
Yeah, I think last 2.
Last
Yeah.
2, okay. And present that in the language of a motion. Is that?
I think.
We'll try that. How about that?
I think you read the last 2 and the chair will entertain a motion.
Thank you. Okay. Yeah, that's what I was looking for, is a little guidance. Last two paragraphs. Resolved that the board respectfully requests that the members of the Virginia Assembly introduce, debate, pass legislation during the 2026 Virginia General Assembly session that will effectuate the merger of New College Institute with Patrick and Henry Community College in order to create the Patrick and Henry Workforce Development and Training Center at the Baldwin Building in Martinsville, Virginia. And be it further resolved that the New College Institute Board of Directors requests that the Secretary of Education in the incoming 2026 Executive Branch Administration assist with the development of an executable plan to effectuate this transfer as soon as possible.
All right, at this time, are you?
I'm done. Thank you.
This time, the chair will entertain a motion.
So moved.
No, we have to. Say what the motion would be.
Yes, it would be to adopt the resolution.
Yeah.
I mean, that would be the motion.
That would be the motion if that's what's in my head.
So before we do that, will there be any discussion on the details of
Yes.
this before the motion?
No, that comes after.
After the
After the second.
Yeah,
After the second,
we're gonna
then I
have
open it up for discussion.
Gotcha.
Discussion.
Okay.
So that was a first. Was there a second to the motion?
Second.
That was a second. So now we have discussion.
So it's been moving the property second, that we will endorse.
No.
Well, you know,
Endorse.
yeah, vote in favor of.
Yeah, I'm gonna, that we would endorse the proposal as laid
Yeah.
out by Dr. Crabtree.
Is your proposal to accept this resolution? Or your
Well-
motion to accept the resolution as provided by Dr. Crabtree?
Yeah.
Yes.
Approve
Yes.
it, sign on to it, yeah.
I mean, that, the actions of the board would be to either approve or accept the proposal or
I think-
resolution, right?
I think, yeah, I think the term that we probably need to use here is whether the board will endorse this or not. I don't think, I want to give the community the right context of what this board has the ability to do.
Yeah, that's right.
Right now, all we have the ability to do is to endorse.
Right.
So at this point, it's been moved and probably second for the motion to endorse the proposal that's been presented by Dr. Crabtree. And now discussion is now open.
Yeah, I have thoughts, if you want me to go first. So, being that this is a resolution, obviously it's a written document, it's a presentation of an idea, it's got a lot of words in it, and they're good words, but it sets this up for a yes or no, sort of an endorse, not endorse, and what I'm getting to here is that means like, you're sort of setting it up for like a full endorsement of everything written, or a full, not assigning my name. So I guess I'm wanting to make sure that whatever we do, we don't unintentionally say that NCI can't function, can't continue, can't do what it needs to do by accidentally painting this as like the best possible route forward. Because I feel like we really need to set this up on like dual tracks, what we've got going, continue to go, because politics is politics, and you can have a bill one day in the General Assembly and it's gone in the next day. And so it's going to be important for NCI not to put all their eggs in one basket or resolution. So that's really where I wanted to come from saying this is like, for me, I want to endorse like the opportunity and the idea and like the theory and the processes behind it, all this good conversations that happen. But I don't want to necessarily say like, and this is the way it's gotta be, or like, this is the only way we could possibly, like,
Yeah.
it shouldn't feel like
That's not a poison.
Yeah, I think-
right.
I
I
think-
wanna make sure it doesn't feel like that.
I think one of the things from a discussion perspective, I think as a board with what we set forth in the committees, right? I think no idea has to die, right? But ideas have to follow the process and come through committees, right? And if a process needs to go back to the committee to go through committee, which this didn't come through committee, that's where we would have not an idea die, we would have an idea to continue to be worked on until it's ready for the full board. Right, so I think what you're saying is, we don't have to take it in totality. You don't want to miss the opportunity if it needs more work, right? And we all voted as a board to put a committee structure in place, to have those opportunities to do it, those committees just reported out on that. So I take that into consideration.
And so you also said that this did not go through committee.
It did not.
Before to that effect, okay. I think that's a great point to my concern, which I raised Dr. Crabtree on more than one occasion. One occasion was at midnight one night, to be quite frank, and on the phone. There's a lot of work that's went into this, and I think each of us that are locally appointed to this board see that work. I was I was an intern in the first internship program that NCI established in the early 2000s, the very first one. And to look at where they've come since the time that I went to do my paperwork at, what is currently my office for Connect Health and Wellness, is big growth, right? And they've had lots of challenges during that time frame. So has everybody else. The point I think that I have is the work that has went into this. A lot of us are already doing to be cheerleaders for NCI in the community. And it's a little bit frustrating or disappointing that the amount of work being put into this wasn't necessarily channeled in a positive way to help promote and grow NCI. We've had challenges over the past couple of years. I came onto the board when Mr. Hall was still the chairman, a little bit more than a year ago at this point, and we had a very frank conversation about fiduciary responsibility. We were battling, had been embattled before my arrival in the challenge with funding from the Martinsville Henry County Education Foundation, which is now known as. And that has continued to plague us even till today. We don't focus on it because we decided to change our focus and channel that work in a different way, right, to become successful. We have some other challenges with the administrative staff being all their time spent looking at following and achieving different FOIA requests and different requests of information from the community, which tied up a lot of administrative time. And quite frankly, I felt that a lot of that time we could have been channeling and using and investing to do positive things, the work that we're all trying to do all the time. We spent a lot of time and a lot of effort and a lot of energy doing a lot of stuff that hasn't netted us anything positive. And that's frustrating. It's disappointing as a member of this community. I would agree with the comment that Mr. Hall made earlier. It paints us in a really weird and maybe negative way, right? And so I think, you know, the way that this has come about, the energy and the process, again, I've shared with Dr. Crabtree, and I would share with him in person if he were here, and really feel bad that he's not here in the situation he's in. But because of that, I'm not sure that I'm ready to make a decision of this magnitude based on the process, based on the information or the data that we're looking at or maybe not looking at that's included or not included. And, you know, I feel like that's my responsibility to make a good, smart decision for the community. We invested a lot of time in a lot of ways in a lot of places. And quite frankly, in what I do in my 9 to 5, Destiny, I'm sure you can associate with this. We look at our mission statement. There are lots of days I make decisions that are big decisions that are really easy to make because they're the easy thing to do. And they happen to coincide with the mission statement. There are other days that I have to make a decision that coincides with the mission statement, but it's probably the hardest thing you could possibly do. But you know what we do? We make the decision, we march forward, and we serve our mission. And for me to be able to do that as a fiduciary party and somebody with responsibility to this community and that's going to have to answer to the community, I don't think I have the data and the material that I need today to make a sound decision on my part. And that's me speaking. You know, each of you have a voice, and I'd be happy to hear that. But
I would like to thank you for that comment, Mr. Stone. I'd like to turn it to Destiny. And anybody else online, make sure that our board members online have the opportunity to weigh in. Delegate Bowler.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Marcus took all the words essentially. But I'm in agreement with what he said. I think that we are lacking data. I think that we are lacking process, and just as in the legislature, how we go about things, we put forth studies, right, to study things, and we crunch the numbers. We bring in all the stakeholders, which, based on public comment and from other conversations I've had, it seems as though we have had a lack of bringing in all the stakeholders throughout this resolution writing, and so. You know, I think there are a lot of questions to be answered and a lot more work to be done, not to take away from the work that has been done or other conversations that have happened to bring us to this point. But I think there's just a lot more to do. And to be fair to the people that engage with NCI, I think we have much more due diligence to do. And so I'm with Marcus in that. I'm not in favor of this today. Not saying never, but again, more work to be done.
Senator, thank you for your comments, Delegate Bowling. Senator Shabazz.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I agree with my prior two board members who just spoke. I think it requires more work. And Mr. Chairman, you made the comment about committees. That's very important as members of the GA. You know, we are very used to working through subcommittees and committees, and that's extremely important. And that process and that discipline and that scrubbing is very important for a decision of this magnitude. And I concur with both of them, and I hope, we will get a chance to do that exact thing. Thank you.
Thank you, Senator. Anyone else online have comment?
Yeah, Mr. Chair, I wanted to talk a little bit more about the process. Obviously there's a big legislative process that has to happen. It needs to be signed into law, but there's also the Virginia Community College System State Board that needs to be looped in to the process as well. And this would very likely need to be also endorsed by their board and voted on by their board. So I wanted to make that also clear to everyone that this, even an endorsement of this is just a first step in a many, many step process, that an endorsement of an idea to be studied, or, potentially maybe we could change the wording of how I don't know, how it's written to endorse an idea to study it, as opposed to, saying we don't agree with it. I don't know. I think that there maybe are some other options, but I did want to stress the process that still needs to be followed.
Thank you.
And I wouldn't want to speak for Mark, but I think in discussions with him, he fully acknowledged that there's a lot of process. Community college system, the legislature, the secretary, Department of Education, that really all we could do is endorse. But if I can go on to maybe add, if I can, since we're in open discussion, I frankly find it extremely frustrating going into the community. As a board member, we've talked about getting community input, having engagement with the community, talked about whether we should or were required to do a strategic plan, and we took zero action on it for the last couple of years. So again, as a local board member, I felt part of my responsibility is to go cheerlead, but to get input from the community. And our community, I feel, has spoken very loudly. Not granted, could not have canvassed everybody in the community, but a lot of these organizations that we had conversation with, very clear that there was a point in time where they stopped supporting NCI and were anxious to find a way to start supporting NCI and the activities and the staff that we have here. And this is an idea that bubbled up out of those discussions. For those of you who don't live in the community, I just want you to have some assurance that the community has thought a lot about this organization, the staff, the opportunities that we have, and are really anxious to re-engage, but in a way that they feel comfortable and that they will put their time and resources behind. Now, going back to process, if we collectively as a board feel like maybe a more appropriate motion is to endorse the idea or a concept of something different and channel that to the appropriate committee,
I think.
is that something people would feel more comfortable with?
Make sure.
Yeah.
From John, pass our time and then I'll.
Sure.
Okay, so just to echo what Ashley stated, I like the way that she framed that, in that we're not gonna endorse the paper here, but we always go through a discovery, a charter, right, to discover what this idea is about. Is it feasible? Does it make it through the stage gate, like whatever the process is before it comes out? So it's kind of like it's not quite ready for prime time for us to say we're endorse it, right? And I think that's exactly what
That's a
you were
General
saying.
Assembly. That's a General Assembly term right there.
Stage gate?
Not ready for prime time.
Not quite ready for prime time. I don't mean, some of the best ideas that launch come off of the back of a cocktail napkin, right? They do. But once they're on that napkin, they go through the stage gate to determine like, yep, this looks good. Can we tweak a little bit? Right? And to talk a little bit more about your comments of feedback from the community, I'm not privy to, other than rumor, like what the community feels about NCI. And are some of those feelings based on not really knowing the real story, right? So that they see or they think or it's rumored. But our PR to Destiny's point, we've picked up the PR with putting out press releases so people understand what really is going on at NCI, where we were silent for a long time. No one knew what was going on. So if you don't know what's going on, then you're just left to make assumptions that something bad's going on. And we had a lot of different things going in. We had our wheel going with sticks going in all places. What I like about the resolution is that we're stopping and we're gonna do something where we have been stuck with lots of other levers that have been in play. So I think it's great that he went out, that the team folks had the conversation, because now we're in a position where we can possibly go through that process and move forward.
Mr. Lyon.
Page 6 of resolution, we didn't read this one, but to the senator's comments and concerns, and maybe Delegate Williams too. Resolve that the lease agreements and programs beyond and going forward, nothing, keep those in place. Why would it go away just because we change the name to another organization? I agree with all the work that's going on, the PR and stuff. But is it PR for service organization and workforce development? 20 years ago, Longwood, Old Dominion, Tech, Rapid, where have they gone? College students
We were paying them. That's when we stopped paying them. That's when they left. That was one program.
That's the only thing I'm saying.
Well, yeah, the model changed,
Yeah,
right? So
yes.
we have to have the ability to
Yes.
shift and pivot based on
Yes.
current.
And we were hoping for more money from the budget, and nothing happens from this, keep going on.
Yeah.
But we get more money. It's a new administration in 4 years. Are we back the same place we are now?
Well, I'd like to address that.
And, so
I definitely would like to address that with my comment. So my comment, one of the things I would like to point out is I would like to point everybody to page 4 of the resolution. And Senator Shabazz, before I get to mine, I want to get to Senator Shabazz first. Senator Shabazz.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I just wanted to say, listening to my other colleagues, the process obviously is important, as I said, the committee process, right? That's one of the things, but it looks like some of us may not be even fully on board with the concept, right? So first is agreement on the concept, then of course you have to go through because it's a General Assembly, state law, codification, new administration coming very soon. So that I get, but I'm not sure. Some of us may be on board with the concept for various reasons. Some of us are not. And I think what we could do today is to make sure that we acknowledge that, because otherwise there will be more confusion in the community. You don't want more confusion and misunderstanding that, oh, that's what this board wants to do. They're just going through the process. It's going to happen. Well, I don't think we are saying that. So I just want to make sure that that's clear.
Yes, and thank you, Senator Shabazz, for those statements. One of the things that I want to talk about is, my stance of where I stand with this. So I turn to page 4 of the proposal. Whereas the mission of the Marshall-Henry County Academic Foundation is to provide financial and other support for the dissemination of education in Marshall-Henry County, Virginia, and the Marshall-Henry County Foundation believes that Patrick Henry Community College Center for Workforce and Economic Development proposal is consistent with that mission. The word believes. So I would also like you to turn to the minutes that we just adopted from the June 12th minutes, where at that meeting, any negotiation where conversation with what the Martinsville Henry County Academic Foundation believed was voted, then I was the person to do that. I did not know about this conversation. I did not hear what they believed that was around our vote. In the minutes that you have today, on that principle alone, this statement being in this document flaws the whole thing. Because there was a conversation had with an organization that we have a legal conversation with, that we've been illegally embattled with for more than a year. And in this statement right here, I'll circle it again. It says they believe. So who had the conversation with the Martinsville Henry County Academic Foundation to find out what they believed if it wasn't me? That's the first thing. The second, on the community, what the community input is, all of our meetings since I've been a board member, I'm the longest tenured board member on the board. I was appointed by Dr. Ralph Northam. When I came here following, we've always had a chance for the community to provide open comment. I went through all of the minutes from all of the meetings that I've been a part of, and I've never seen or heard anyone come to the board and say they were dissatisfied with what NCI was doing from this community. As Ms. Colonel Johnson stated, there's been rumor, there's been conversation, but people have an opportunity to address this board, whether it was Senator Stanley as the chair, whether it was Richard Hall as the chair, or now it's me, the chair, and that remains open. So that's why we changed the format of the meeting. We will have an address for people to address with public comment, and that will be the case. So what the community thinks is an open forum for the community to engage with us. And it's also an open forum that if the community doesn't understand something they do, they can legally FOIA this organization to find it out. So with what the community thinks. The second comment, the next comment I would like to bring to address is from a perspective of moving forward with an agreement of this type. I pointed to the minutes. I do want to remind the board that conversations had been had by me that I emailed to you all with what I had discussed with the Martinsville Henry County Academic Foundation. At this point, without going into closed session, I would say that those conversations are still protected under attorney-client privilege, and our Attorney General representative here, Adam Kane, owns that information and owns the communication with the Martinsville Henry County Academic Foundation. With the change of an administration, what happens is that remains an open item that the new administration will have to take up. So with that being the case, there's three factors, right? The first that I'll point to in this current resolution, it states something that an organization that's been in battle with us believes. That's not prudent process, because that belief didn't come through conversation with me. And the next thing I'll point out is every institution, and I've done the research, every community college, every four-year institution, every higher ed center has a supporting foundation, every one, except for us. So any conclusions that have been made about New College Institute, it's like we're in the Tour de France with our back wheel gone. Everybody's saying you're going slow. You're not going fast enough. You can't keep up. But when I look at ODU, when I look at Roanoke Higher Ed Center, all of them have supported foundation. Where is ours? Ours is called an illegal document that on June 12th, I was voted to negotiate. So until those negotiations happen, I think we as a board owe the process of getting that solved, and then let's move on to the next thing. Now, I know that it's dragged out. I know that has dragged out over the years. We've been moving back and forth with the Martinsville Henry County Academic Foundation, but through legal precedent in the state of Virginia, which is done through court law, through this court cases that have supported that every higher ed center in the state is to have a supporting foundation. And without one, the organization is deemed to be defunct by whatever made that not happen. So as this drags out, this is a bigger issue, and I stated this in my letter, this is not a local disagreement. This is a legal disagreement that we gotta see through. And we have to work with the OAG, we have to work with our delegates and our leadership to make sure that we see that to the end. And if we have to stay resolved to see that to the end to represent NCI, because that's what our Office of Attorney General guided us and advised us to do. That's my comment.
If we keep going down that path, Chairman, who's gonna pay for the litigation? We're gonna keep paying the litigation?
Pay the litigation. So on the litigation, we were paid to go into mediation. So we were paid to go into mediation. One of the reasons why the former chairman and I were so surprised last year was because during the summer, to your point, we were instructed by our attorney general, we were given to advice to go into mediation. We sat in meetings, at least 2 meetings, and go back and check the minutes. Was that the right thing to do? The board unanimously said going into mediation with the Marshall Henry County Academic Foundation was the right thing to do. And at the right time, we allocated the money to go into mediation. So it was disheartening for us to find out that when we went into mediation all summer, like you just stated, we did exhaust resources to find out that we were written out of the budget. Why go into mediation if we were going to be written out of the budget? So to tell the story fuller, after we did that, I think the General Assembly.
Mr. Chair, if I could just step in, if there's anything that's going to discuss any ongoing legal issues, I would just suggest going into closed session.
I don't think we're going to go into any other legal issues. All I will say is, once we were written out of the budget, where we ended up last year was at the end of special sessions, we were 500K up. The money was coming to help us see this to the end. And I think we need to continue down that path to work with our General Assembly partners to continue the money to come so we can fight this to the end. Or someone make a decision to draw it to a quicker resolution. Because we can't, we're riding without our back.
I think one of the things, another comment that I have, that not to cloud any of the other great statements that have been made, Lee made a very poignant point that I want to make sure to underscore. We're operating a business. This is a business. And there's 2 types of business. There's not-for-profit and there's for-profit. And if you don't have any margin, you don't have any mission. That's how businesses work. Lee's been an accountant for a long time. He'll tell you the same thing. I don't have near as many years, but I'm learning quick. We've got to develop a strategic plan, and we have got to get moving. We don't have time to wait on a resolution to a legal matter. We don't have time to wait 6 months and see what's going to happen here or there. We have been hamstrung a little bit by some of the challenges that we faced over the tenure that I've been here. But Joe can bear witness. I've told him multiple times, you need to put the pedal to the floor. Now's the time to make hay. The sun's shining. Let's make it work. That does not go away. That does not change, right? Regardless of what we do with this today, we need to have a plan. We need to have a destination, and we need to get to work. That's what we're here to do.
I want to address the plan because this is something that keeps coming up. And I agree with you, Mr. Spellman, but let's talk about the plan. So in this business, budget comes with language and instruction, right? So the first instruction that we got from the governor last year had budget with language that gave instruction for us to do a strategic plan. When it got to the General Assembly, what came out of that was budget with no need for a strategic plan. That budget with no need for a strategic plan went to the governor and it was vetoed. So it hasn't been for not the delay of writing a strategic plan. It's also looking up to see what the strategic plan, and we talked about the Op6 meeting that you went to. We asked that we engage with the Secretary of Education based on the metrics and the things that you want us to meet. We report that at the Op6 briefing. We tell you a plan during that meeting. And also, what are the other strategic plans that the other higher ed centers are writing? I want to see a copy of those. Haven't received one yet. So with the business that we're in, there's a budget that comes with budget language that provides instructions. Just so we are level set here, the instructions to write a strategic plan that went up was removed. Now, that does not mean that we as an organization should not have a
Yeah.
strategic plan, but a part of the $500,000 we were asking for last year would have funded the strategic plan and would have been done by now if the 500K hadn't been vetoed. Is that? I want to make sure everybody follows that. Am I correct? Am I correct?
And I understand that, and you and I discussed this previously, right? I understand that it's all well and good. We've got to know where we're going before we can start marching.
Correct.
You know, and these staff are doing a great job marching, but we've got to make sure our job is to make sure they're in a line and not spread out amongst society in 10 different directions to a degree.
And I think the great thing is we're having a fruitful discussion about education. It's at the forefront, has been for months in here in Martinsville. But I think due to time constraints, I do want to draw the discussion to a close unless there are any other comments from anyone else.
I would like to just state that there's several things going.
Yeah.
Well,
Right.
yeah, absolutely.
Right, there's several things. So is it your 30, 60, 90? What needs to be done now? The resolution is probably a little bit further out to be able to, go through the process with that. But what do we need to do today? Because what's going on right now seems to be going pretty well. What do we need to do midterm and what do we need to do later? Like, how does that all play out?
And I think we have the chair's update coming after this I think we'll talk to some of his plans, but unless we have any further discussion on this particular motion, I would.
I have one more comment on that. Just going back to, what Ashley stated before Destiny and also who ran. When we take a look at that resolution, I would like to see us go through it with a fine tooth comb, as we will do. But also, what's plan B? What are the options here? Not just this is the plan. We could come out with a great plan, but there can be another great plan. Like, let's look at two plans, at least two plans, to say, what does it look like if it's PH? What does it look like when it stays as NCI? How does that look? That's whatever motion we need to put in place for that.
I don't think we need to put that to a motion. I think what committees do is talk through those options.
Yeah.
And then the committee brings a report to me based on the options they discuss. This is what happens when committee isn't followed. You have a big discussion about what are the options. Those things should be discerned in committee. Those things should be voted on in committee, and that should be presented to the board as the options have been analyzed and have been viewed. You bring it to the board to board vote.
Correct. I think we need to see a full analysis.
Correct.
Like,
Mr. Chairman,
advantages.
I'm sorry, Valerie.
You go for
Pardon me. I've had too much coffee. In the, on the fourth page, in the third paragraph, Mr. Chairman, you rightly point out, the word believes is used, and I think it invalidates the resolution as it's being considered as a whole. I'm going to withdraw my second to the motion on that basis. I would also like to add that while I am not a Martinsvilletonian, I have been here 9 years now, and I'm involved in a lot of organizations outside of my work, including this one, obviously. I don't think we find ourselves mostly in our lives with the opportunity that we have in front of us here in this community right now. We have incredible things going on around us, opportunities, and the days of textiles and furniture and low-paying jobs and working for the man kind of stuff, that is in the rearview mirror. Let me rephrase it. I believe it is going to be in the rearview mirror. I think it's important that this organization and many other organizations on the South Side realize the winds that are at our back in terms of economic development that are happening. And I would say that while I can't keep my second in, I do think what's in this document is worth a lot of consideration, because one of the things that most people in this community feel is that we do need better workforce training. We're gonna have a couple thousand jobs announced in the next 6 months in Martinsville, Henry County that are coming besides what's gonna happen at Brosville, besides what's going on in Franklin County, besides what's going on in Roanoke, besides what's going on in Danville. And if we do not work to develop workforce training for people to be retrained in midlife or to be trained young in life, all the way through, if we as a community don't get darn serious about this, we're gonna miss maybe not the opportunity of a lifetime, but of my lifetime, for sure.
Or just the opportunity for growth,
I'm just speaking for myself.
for growth.
Yeah, I'm just speaking for myself. I think that I understand the committee piece of this, and I will defer to what y'all want to do about how you handle things going forward. I'm gonna rescind my second based on your comment, Mr. Chairman, because I think it's very, very valid. But I would encourage, as my friend Marcus said, for us to get moving on these things, because the economic development issues are gonna keep moving around us. In Martinsville and Henry County, can't afford to miss the jobs for this community.
So with your withdrawal of the second, we would come back to the chairman of your motion.
Or the motion would fail if, for lack of a second, if there's no second. It just fail.
Second.
If someone else wants to make it, that's fine, but I'm gonna rescind my
Can
second.
I ask a point of clarification? Thank you, Jay. Because I was gonna ask if there's a vote today, I'll get to them. Anyway, it's not gonna happen. Yay. If that vote was taken against the proposal, does that mean we as a group do away with it? Forget about it?
I don't think so.
No.
No, I think what it tells the community is that we want to have further
Further
discussion,
discussion.
to explore other options and make sure that we are following and not including pieces of information in a proposal that one could jeopardize our legal position with ongoing legal thing going on right now, than other pieces of it. I think what this has also brought up, I think that several members of our delegation has also brought up there might be other people interested in partnering with NCI. So I don't think this takes this proposal off the table. And here's the long and short of it. Even without us endorsing this today, this still could show up in budget language somewhere.
Well, that's what I was gonna say. If it dies in a second, so be it. If we had to vote and change it to, can we table it and keep going?
Yeah.
So having made the motion, my concern with tabling it or not taking any action, and I'm just gonna be frank, since I've been on the board, I haven't seen any strategic action.
Yeah.
No discussion, no action, and no engagement with the community. So I'm very concerned we table this or don't have a second, and we're sitting here a year from now in the very same boat. And one of the people from the community that mentioned fiduciary responsibility, I think we would all be embarrassed from a fiduciary responsibility standpoint if we're sitting here a year from now and haven't dealt with the message that's in this resolution.
We just.
Mr. Chair, can
The
we,
community is telling us very strongly a message here. And if we choose to ignore it, shame on us.
can we discuss maybe assigning this to a committee?
Well, the other thing you could do is you can lay it on the table with a letter to someone, like maybe the chair of education for the House of Delegates or something, saying like, here's what's going on, here's what we're looking at, this is the information that we would need to make these decisions. It's kind of like saying, please help us study this. You know, so you get a documented action item that starts the clock and you can follow up on it, but you don't have a directive to the House of Delegates like, please do this, you know?
So it,
And it doesn't just
So
die, it
to-
doesn't
to
just
Ash-
die on the table.
To Ashley's point, should that come through our committee first?
Or,
Yeah.
or refer it to committee, yeah.
Refer it back to committee. Delegate,
Oh,
delegate vote.
I think you all discussed what I was about to recommend and Delegate Williams kind of said what I was gonna say, but I also just want to gain clarification on whom the community is, because I'm reading through this proposal for the umpteenth time, and I mean, I'm seeing 4 organizations listed. So is that who we're using as the community in this conversation? Because I am not sure that that is necessarily representative of the community, particularly when we just had several organizations who actually work with NCI speak so highly of the work that they're able to accomplish because of NCI's existence. So, one, if we get clarification on whom the community is, and then second, yeah, if we can, I can make a motion, but that's what I got to say on that part.
Chair will entertain a motion.
so
does
for,
his-
I'm sorry, just for order's sake. So the motion I made is,
It just failed to.
it failed. No second. Okay,
I think it's important.
Unless there is a
to take that, though.
Yeah.
unless there is a second.
Yeah.
Well,
Mr. Chair, I have a substitute motion.
okay.
Oh,
Correct.
did somebody, did
No,
I miss?
I just smiling because I was about to make a substitute motion, but sure, you
Yeah,
go
go
ahead, Destiny.
We probably have different motions, but I'm going to recommend to lay this on the table, motion to lay this on the table.
So that's a superior motion than what I would say. So you'd have to take a vote on it, and if it died on the table, or if it goes on the table if it passes. If it doesn't, the motion that I was gonna make in case she wanted to withdraw her motion or something is that we refer it to a committee and let that process move forward.
Mr. Chair, I will allow and oblige my colleague Delegate Williams and
A
withdraw
more
my motion.
superior substitute motion.
This is
Is
beautiful.
my
It
friend.
really is. Beautiful.
Yeah, my motion would be that we refer it to a committee,
Got
so
it.
it can continue through a
Yeah.
process. A lot of work is done. There's a lot of language in here. Hopefully that committee can do the legwork, talk to a few more people to just, because if we're going that route, we don't want it to fail. That's my concern. Talk about $3 million in funding that we're just gonna say it's gonna go over to a different college. There's gonna be a lot of people who have concerns about that.
Yeah,
money.
and I think,
You know what I mean?
I think also going to the committee, it could be also discussed if, you know, the current path we're on, if we're making a stride, so.
That's my motion is to
Would
refer the resolution to a committee for work.
Which committee?
I
The
think
workforce and
clarification.
academic committee,
Do what?
the workforce and academic committee.
Okay, that's part.
Did you make that motion?
Sure, yeah. I would make the motion that this resolution be referred to the Workforce and Academic Committee for the new college institutes for revision.
Second.
It's been moved and second that we will, move this, proposal to the workforce and academic committee. Have to go back to, is there any discussion?
Yes. Is this inclusive of other options? This committee will be instructed to review this resolution. Is there another committee or subgroup of the committee that can go off on their side and say, let's look at another option so that we can keep it moving?
Delegate Bowling has something. Delegate Bowling?
Oh, yes to Ms. Crummy Johnson's question, but also secondarily, referring this to a committee, the way in which it's written, based on, Mr. Chair, your remarks and poignant details that you pointed out there, are we in proper order to refer it? Because it does make such a statement that I'm fearful of the legal ramifications.
Yeah, I'm just pointing out to the board in my comments on the original conversation in district board that in the current format that this is in on page 4, it speaks to a belief in which points to a discussion that it was had with the Barnesville-Henry County Academic Foundation that goes outside of the parameters of what we had discussed in a June 12th and that was in the minutes today. So to your point, Destiny, I don't want to give the community a part of this engine that was powering this was this resolve the foundation issue. P&H merger will resolve that because all the money from the foundation would go to that. I am still opposed to that.
So Doug Williams, your motion was for it to go for revision.
Yeah.
And I don't know if you specifically meant to include that part or if that was
No,
not a
actually,
part of your thought, but.
You know, as I see it is effectively, you know, we read your resolution. It's not ready for prime time. Take it back to the committee. When you take it back to committee, it can be in any presentation that you wanted to present it to again, taking all the comments that were brought today, striking it up, et cetera, reapplying that through the committee, you know, I think is how this resolution gets addressed. As far as what Ms. Crummy Johnson was talking about is I intentionally did not widen my motion because I didn't have the thoughts of everybody on it. I know that this is one route that we want to try to game out. If there are other routes that we want to try to push down to a committee now, it might require a second conversation, a second motion, or even a chair's prerogative directive, maybe this, you know, and so I don't necessarily want to go forward with that resolution. It's either send it to committee or lay it on the table and send new stuff out if you wanted to think about the broader picture.
I'm thinking about the broader picture because of what you said. Time is of the essence. We need to get 2 resolutions on the table. Or evaluate.
Well,
But does sending this back to committee, it doesn't preclude us from talking about other things in the committee. So this wouldn't necessarily have to be the only item on the agenda. It would be an item on the agenda that we could discuss, and an option and an idea that we could discuss. It wouldn't necessarily have to be the only item on the agenda or discussed in whole in its current form.
And excuse me, and the committee's listening right now. Go to page 4, we already know, strike that one out and move on.
Yeah, and my reason for bringing that up, if that's if that, it seemed to me that paragraph, the committee will have to decide this, right? It seemed to me that paragraph with the power that was driving this, because it solved a problem. Take what I just brought up, the committee will have to decide if this still stands the merit that it was presented as. Without that in it, it might not have the gas that fueled it in the first place.
The committee can decide.
The committee can decide.
So I guess my one last question on going to committee is timeframe. I can
address time frame. So we have a new administration coming.
This might be for Mr. Kane, to your point. But what if the committee went to the foundation and they verified what they said?
They can't do that.
Well, then
I have to, the committee has to instruct me of what, we have to have a discussion, and we voted that discussion is between me and the Barnesville-Henry County Academic Foundation.
So get to reappend that schedule paragraph.
When you all tasked me to go to them, I came to them with a proposal that they rejected.
Right. So
outside of the official format, this believe statement, when I came to them, they didn't put this on the table. That's why I'm concerned about it. They never brought up a PH merger to me.
Yeah.
And they knew I was coming to them in an official capacity. So I believe that this statement is the fuel that's driving the proposal. Without that statement, what merit does it have? If that's for the committee to decide, that's what the committee decide. Does Delegate Bowman?
Mr. Chair, I move the pending question.
Second. Delegate Bowman, your hands go up.
Yeah, I was, Ryan, you're so funny. I was going to also ask because, I mean, we just have too many, there's a lot going on here, and I mean, we're still having discussion about a thing, and so I'm not sure that we should be sending this direct language back to a committee to start from. Mr. Chair, is it not in your purview to task a committee to study, look at, review, analyze, whatever verb we want to use, an issue or topic?
Yes.
I believe, yes. Okay. So I don't know if
I
we
will
wanted to.
draw my-
Yeah, thank you. So, Mr. Chair, with that being said, and with Delegate Williams withdrawing his motion, I'm going to again motion to table this with the hopes that, for Peace in the Valley's sake, with the hopes that our chairman will task said workforce committee to look at merger possibilities and all of that whole rigmarole. I don't know what other thing to say about that. Oh, Senator Srinivasan has something.
Senator Sebastian.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'm a new board member, so again, I don't have the depth and the specific knowledge that many of you have, right? So I just want to make sure that whatever we do here doesn't do two things. Number one, it creates confusion in the community. Number two, that whatever study in the committee that we authorize, to my friend, Delegate LeVar Bowling's point, doesn't hurt. As I said, I don't know the specific history. Doesn't hurt us in any legal proceedings. Because if I'm just saying this without knowing details. Oh, this is the resolution that the committee is going to study. Committee is studying. Oh, let's just wait for the committee to come out. They can be studying it forever. So everything is on hold because there is a committee studying this resolution. That to me could be more hurtful. So to Delegate LeVar Bowling's point, I think if the chairman has the authority, obviously, to the other board member who spoke about, hey, we have been doing this forever, we need to move on. I completely agree. We can't keep kicking the can down the road. And we shouldn't be here 6 months from now talking about the same thing. Having said that, what is the mechanism to get that ball rolling? Well, what do we mean by community? Who do we list as 10 organizations? And what is that process? Who is that organization that's going to get the feedback? Is this the committee authorized? Do they have money to spend on, the study or going and interviewing people? We just have to have an outcome that way we don't get trapped into our own motions. and somebody outside of this organization says, oh yeah, they had a board meeting and they said that they're referring this resolution to the committee and let's just wait. No, we are saying that we need all options on the table. So, Mr. Chairman, my request would be having come new to the board that we facilitate that, whatever that avenue is to your judgment. Thank you.
Yeah, so what we have on the table now is a motion. Delegate Bowling, you made a motion to table this, and then I'll give a directive following proper.
Did he withdraw?
Yeah, and I would
Oh,
second
oh,
Delegate
okay.
Bowling's motion.
I'm not understanding exactly what.
Basically, she's saying table the resolution so it stays here. And then have the chair put together a letter that directs the chair of the education, the workforce and academic committee to, charge them with a directive to look at this. And then that committee can come up with something, bring it to the full board.
Mr. Chairman, can I have a quick clarification? I'm sorry.
I would want it by the January. board.
And that package looks like what?
I think it considers this. I think it considers this resolution. And then I think it has to consider,
It's the broader.
just how to move forward without any kind of partnership with PNH, because we have to think that way.
Yeah, and to Jay's point about things that are happening economically in the area, right? So this is gonna take a minute. We should be able to move forward as we have been to make sure that we're not missing the mark and missing an opportunity is what it sounds like coming from your statement.
Yeah.
Right,
Yeah.
so we don't want to be stuck and not continue as we are until such time.
Yeah, I mean, I think with the letter and our excellent chair, he can, you know, carve out what we're looking for this committee to accomplish and give them that charge,
Okay.
you know.
Do we want their work to be done by January? It's mid-November.
I don't know if they can get it done, but I think that, I
sounds
think that
crazy
we
with
need
Christmas
to
and
have some
Thanksgiving.
conversations. We need to have some input by the time we come back.
We need to have a report at least from,
Yes.
from the committee. I
Yeah.
would agree. I
Yeah,
don't know if it's the work, I would expect the work to be done. The
yeah,
other thing is, I know we need to get some things moving. I'm the biggest proponent of moving stuff that you've ever seen. We live on the wild side. We want to get stuff done, but I want it to be right. I don't want to have to go back and clean up something and to some discussion. If you make the wrong decision, you might not have anything to clean up, right?
Right.
So we just need to be careful that we're doing things in a steadfast manner.
that's the motion,
Senator
Senator
Shabazz.
Cottage, hand up.
I was just going to say, thank you, Mr. Chairman. I was just going to say the motion should include a broader study, not just this to the committee.
Yeah.
I think that's what Delegate Renz-Williams said too.
Yes.
Thank you.
So, I would call the pending question unless there's some other hand up or something.
No.
So we take a vote on my motion.
Yes. Could you restate your motion?
Yeah, my motion would be that we table the resolution and that we ask the chair to encompass our thoughts around this discussion in a letter charging the committee chair for the Academic and Workforce Committee to create a report and have that report back to us in the January meeting.
So second. Let's make sure.
A second.
Is there any further discussion? All right, Olivia, we're gonna do this by roll call, just to make sure we get everybody's.
Alrighty. Calling the roll. Dr. Mark Crabtree, she's not here. Miss Valerie Crummy Johnson.
Here,
No.
Is it yay or nay?
Yeah.
yay, sorry. I've been in Tucson, I don't know.
He just got off the plane.
Got off.
TSA was holding her,
Yeah.
She's here now for the first time.
Barely.
Mr. J. Dickens.
I'm here too.
yeah.
Stacey Gordon's not here. Senator Chris Head, I think he had a jump off. Mr. Eric Jones,
Yeah.
Mr. Kevin Lane,
Yes.
Delegate Destiny Olivier Bowling,
Aye.
Miss Ashley Lockhart,
Yes.
Ms. Carr's not here. Mr. Lee Perlman,
Yes.
Delegate Sam Rasool,
Aye.
Senator Conan Srinivasan,
Aye.
Mr. Marcus Stone,
Aye.
and Delegate Ren Williams.
Aye.
You have full support, unanimous.
I vote full support, the motion passes, and I will begin to work. I'll work with Ashley on the description in the letter, that'll go out to the board shortly after this meeting. So, Joe, we've got to plenty discussion, got, any time there for your update, chairman's update? I'll go out. I want the executive, we're gonna move to the executive director, then I'll give my statement, it's a final statement.
Oh, I recognize the hour's getting long. You all know that I have a rapid fire approach, so I will rely on you all to,
Slow you down.
slow me down if needed, or feel free to kick me under the table there, Delegate Williams, if I need to get even faster with you. So, first and foremost, we always like to start out with just a quick little spotlight. I want to spotlight Mr. Andy Burnett. Some or all of you may know him. He's joining us here today. Surprise, sir, you're on the report. Mr. Burnett has joined us as the Event Administrative Coordinator, and he has hit the ground running since day one. To give everybody just a little context on him joining the team. Person in that position prior moved on to another opportunity. Miss Erica McDaniel was just gracious enough to step in and help cover in multiple capacities, her actual position as well as this position. And then Andy steps in and joins the team. And Andy jumped in at an interesting time because basically on day one, we said, hey, guess what? We've implemented a fee structure and it's your job to tell everybody they have to pay for this stuff now. And not only that, but let's convince them to keep coming back and keep paying. And he's done a phenomenal job of it, ladies and gentlemen. So just want to say, welcome aboard, Andy. Glad to have you and excited to see what we can do.
Clap, 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 clap,
Yeah.
clap.
I'm gonna pause. I was told that our friend Ms. Christie here has joined us from Minority Business Council, and we didn't have an opportunity, so we'd like to share that with us real quick. All right. If you want to.
Hello. Greetings, everyone. Thank you for having us. Thank you for allowing Minority Business Consortium to be on your agenda, and apologies for my tardiness at another meeting. I'm Christy Harper. I'm the new Executive Director for the Minority Business Consortium. If many of you don't know what that is, our focus is to provide resources and tools and funding readiness for our local minority entrepreneurs. We want to make sure that they're prepared to grow their businesses, to be able to play in the game and actually sustain their businesses. We have in 2019, a few of the local community members came to the table because they saw some challenges that were happening in the minority business community. So they wanted to try to make an impact and a difference. So that happened in 2019. In 2024, they gained the 501c3. And 2025, they got funding from Harvest to proceed with this, an actual physical location. In 2025 of September, they hired me as an executive director. We have 4 focus points that we'll be focusing on. And one of those is to provide capacity and funding readiness to our businesses, growth and capacity trainings, a mentor program that we want to build with some of the older members that are in the community, business members that are in the community, as well as allow inclusive advanced impact opportunities for them, like procurement opportunities, and of course, any certifications that businesses need. We just held our ribbon cutting last Thursday, and it was here. Thank you for the partnership with NCI. It's been phenomenal. We had an amazing turnout. I didn't know what to expect, but it was actually overwhelming. It was really great. And that's pretty much it. We've hit the ground running, like I said, since September, and we're looking to, right now, working on the agenda for 2026. I do know that some of this, it's a lot of people in this community that are all doing the same work. Everybody, it's the ecosystem that everybody wants to help these businesses grow. But at the same time, we are working together to make sure there's no duplicative services and that everybody knows what everybody is doing. I thought that was very important upon my arrival here, that we do that, because as I took a moment to go around and meet a lot of people we met with, a lot of the head people in Martinsville and Henry County, just to let them know what we were doing and what the community looked like. I am a resident of Danville, Virginia, so I do drive in every day. Don't do that. And my background comes from the Chamber of Commerce in Danville. I was a director of membership engagement there, where I oversaw their Rev Up and Entrepreneur program, and it was amazing. So I learned a lot from our local businesses there, and I understand that the same challenges are here. So I do ask for your support as we move forward with this, because we want to make our businesses, especially our minority business, just make them part of the game and, players in the community, so that they can help bring economic vitality back into Martinsville and Henry County. So, yeah. So thank you again for having me. Thank you for your work.
Thank you so much. Thank you for your patience.
Thank you for bringing your expertise to our community.
Thank you. I will leave my business card to you if that's
Yes,
okay.
that's right.
And feel free to reach out to me. Thank you all. Thank you all.
All right, based on requests in prior years, I always report on any upcoming reports. We only have one that is due at this time, and it was submitted already. It was due today, but it has been submitted. That was HE 15. It was just basically the word I'm looking here for, and not an endorsement, a confirmation that all prior reports regarding fiscal operations have been submitted on time, and that all of them were done to the best of our ability and our knowledge. Recap for you, I sent some of this out in an update when our last meeting was postponed. Wanted to kind of keep the conversation going, keep some good news in front of you, as we were kind of working through when this next meeting would occur. So this is what we were going to share at the last one. In first quarter, we generated $145,000 in non-general fund revenue. That's huge. That's during my time here, that's been the largest drop in the bucket, so to speak, in one quarter for non-general. I can tell you the majority of that did come from sale of the academic film coder. Thank you to those that were able to join me earlier for discussion in the high bay and talk about what's coming in the future. We also had an opportunity to meet with Gen Edge. Excited about that. If anyone did not have an opportunity and you're curious to what we're looking at doing together, please let me know. Would love to get with you, introduce you to the Gen Edge partners, and look in the high bay together and talk about what the vision is going to be. We, as mentioned earlier, we formalized our MOU with the Martinsville City Schools Adult Education Program. That goes beyond more than just, again, a space. We are not looking to be landlords. We're looking to be partners. So when we have space available, the question we ask is, what else can we do? And so we're looking to develop a recruitment opportunity out of their GED program for some of our workforce development programs. There's incentives within the adult education sector for those programs to have a kind of a credential +1, so to speak. And so we look to be that +1 that becomes available for the Martinsville City Schools Adult Education Program. FY26 and beyond, there was a lot of discussion about strategic planning. Just for everyone's knowledge, I've shared this, but when the governor's budget come out every year, when it comes out, we take note and we immediately get to work. We know that things are going to change. We know it goes through multiple iterations and potential vetoes, but we don't wait. So we immediately got to work based on what was listed in the governor's budget, the Senate budget proposal, the House budget. We put together, and by week, combination of conferring with Mr. Jones, looking at past strategic plans, Chief Advancement Officer, the executive team, and these are kind of just 5 high-level areas that we are looking at. And as we go to move forward in the future, there's a lot of uncertainty, but these are things that we know stay the same. We are doing a good job in all of these areas, but we have room to grow in all of them. You know, we look at accessible pathways, that's creating the opportunities that you heard about from our partners here. Those opportunities that did not exist before or did not exist for the groups of people that now have access to them. Responsive programs, working closely with the administration, following the BOE data, the Department of Labor data, and then just responding to the specific needs of our partners. A good example, Mr. Ray didn't have time to share it with you, but the Academy comes to us and says, look, we need these specific types of trainings, and the only way to get it is to send our folks off states away 3 or 4 nights at a time. There's enough people in our region that need this same training. If you can have it, we'll help you fill the class. And so having those responsive programs in place has been incredibly beneficial. We've got a lot more of those coming up within the public safety sector. I encourage you to check out social media, and our schedule's coming out there, but there's 4 of those coming up in the next 2 quarters that are specifically targeted or specifically formulated based on law enforcement, public safety coming to us saying, this is what we're looking for that we can't find in the region. Trusted partnerships, I won't spend a lot of time on that. You all have heard from our partners on there. We are here to serve our partners. We're here to figure out what can we do to be a value add, what can we do to supplement what you have, and then we ask the same of our partners. Let's not duplicate, let's not compete, let's all row in the same direction. Resilient operations, I'll go back to Mr. Prillman's statement there. We're intentionally holding back. There's just too many uncertainties to know. So there are some things where we look and we say, hey, tighten the belt, sharpen the pencil one more time before we buy some new pencils. Let's get one more good go out of it. So we are looking at resiliency moving forward because we know that whether we maintain as NCI, whether we merge with any organization out there, your legacy is the snapshot that is created when someone looks at your funding operations. It doesn't matter if it's $1 off today and it's $1,000 off next week and it's perfect the week after. They're going to remember the $1,000 off. So we look for resilient operations to make sure that our money is spent the right way and to make sure that we have enough in the rainy day fund. Additionally, we look to utilize on a kind of a zero budget, meaning we spend out of non-general funds only for those unplanned, unforeseen things. We look to operate in resiliency by operating on what is appropriated to us and not living beyond our means that the state has trusted us with. And then the innovative culture. Again, I'll refer back to some of our partnerships. A really interesting that we're working on now with the Law Enforcement Academy is to create VR experiences for animal control training. So you can imagine that there's a very difficult situation that you encounter in animal control that is sometimes difficult to replicate. So if we can capture that by having our partners capture that footage on their actual calls and then provide that to us, we're looking to create VR training scenarios, again, based on specific requests, not just for the Academy, but the Academy speaking on behalf of a large number of law enforcement, public safety agencies that are looking for that animal control certification. We would be the only one in our region, and we would be only the second one in the state that offers the animal control, and we'll be the first with that type of VR incorporation to it.
Are you referring to animals that we are now moving into our population, like the bear?
Oh, no, think about a disturbance call where there's an aggressive dog or something of that nature. Being able to capture that in a way that we can now create a scenario. Yes, ma'am.
I know we have bear at Kroger, so.
Oh, no.
Right. I didn't know what we're talking about. Got it.
You can see here the goals versus the goals versus the actual. Some of these are ones that are established based on historical data, trends, averages of prior years. Some of these are set by partners based on their capacity and what they look to achieve. But we also have a couple of categories that we look. So for instance, professional development learners. Right now, that makes up a category of its own, but that contains within it various trainings that may be 8 or 10 here, 10 or 12 there, but don't necessarily constitute its own category. But what we do is we review that. We keep our eyes on that to note, are there opportunities here to grow and make this its own line item, make it its own standalone program? Is it worthy of its own metric process where we track it to see its own performance? So just want a clarification for you there on those professional development learners. K-12 and outreach goals. You heard from Delegate Bowling earlier today. We are doing great on our marketing outreach. Got to give kudos to the team. They're getting the word out. It's showing. You can see event revenue there. The goals that we've set. Our year-to-date actual. We're at 18K already compared to last year's total of 34K. So the fee structure has proven successful. We're not at the 50% mark of our fiscal year yet, and we're already hitting the 50% mark on our goal. So looking forward to growing that. And I encourage you all, as you see these events that we're putting together, Andy's looking to not just wait on people to come to us for these events, but Andy's been tasked with go out and find these conferences, these conventions, these industry trade groups, bring them to our area. So what I ask of you is, as you see these things come out, share them among your network for us. Help us to build that growing momentum that we've seen the early stages of here in our event lecture hall. All right, our goals and some actions for us for Q2. Basically, grow the things that we know are working. Again, I'll be very candid with you, not knowing the outcome of the elections at the state level a couple of weeks ago, not knowing what happens at the federal level regularly, not knowing the outcome of the discussion today based around the proposal. We don't look to necessarily strike out and start anything new unless we know that we have the need for it and we have a sustainability mechanism in place. So not knowing that, there are some things that we already had in the works, and there are some things that are either low cost or no cost that you may see on there for the first time. But those goals remain the same as they have been. Continue growing those things that we know are working and responding to our partners. Things that I'll point out to you that you may be seeing on there new for the first time under actions. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Number 4 and 5, ACT WorkKeys assessment provider and NCCER certification provider. So NCCER is a certification that is primarily focused on high school and entry-level post-secondary education, mostly your technical and vocational areas. It is a certification around the construction industry. Lots of different endorsements available within it. But we have been asked specifically by DARS, and not just the Department of Aging and Rehabilitation Services, not just our local DARS group, but we were contacted by the DARS office in Lynchburg. And we're asked, based on all the good work that we have done with DARS here, if we'd be willing to partner with them. So we took a trip up earlier this week, met with them, and they have asked if we would be able to provide these 2 certifications to some of their clients within their area. Again, these are low or no cost. Our team is already credentialed to do all of this. It's just a matter really of submitting the paperwork and getting approval for it. But other than that, things that you see on there, I'll say the last bullet also. The last bullet is not a generalized bullet. It kind of goes back to what Mr. Martin and Jen Edge was saying about, we keep the privacy of our partners. We hold that in high regard. And so we had a manufacturer reach out to us and asked if we'd be willing to work with them to create some industrial training programs specific to their operation. They invited us out, we toured the facility, kind of put eyes on, did some observations of their techs at work. Now what they're doing is we have recommended to them that they bring in a third party to do an assessment. It's just standardized operations when you do training. You never want to be the one that does the assessment and then makes the recommendation for training. It's not the right way to do business. So they have a third party that they've contracted with that's coming in to do the assessment, and then they provide those results to us, and we develop a training program together. But we're at the point where they've asked us not to share that in a public forum. I can share that with board members one-on-one if they would be interested in that. But as you can see there, we've got a lot to do. We're making progress on it, but those are our goals and actions for Q2. All right, ladies and gentlemen, again, I know that I speak rapidly and there was a lot there, a lot of it we had talked about earlier, but if there's any questions, I'm happy to take questions or of course follow up at your convenience.
Yes, and I would ask if, just based on time, if anybody did have any correspondence, should correspond directly with Joe, set up a meeting. I think your door is always open, correct?
Yes.
All right. So I'll just come with a couple, kind of summary statements from a chair's update, just really quick. I don't want the committees to think that Ashley gets all the homework. So I just wanted to, we did table the proposal presented by Dr. Mark Crabtree, but I'll, take into action to task the Academic and Workforce Committee to address that proposal, but also other options to be considered in the future, because I believe it's important that we think about resiliency and the decisions that might be given to us. We're going to have to work in a understanding of when we receive direction from the legislation, we have to have multiple options available to us to act on that. So being actively involved in the process and putting that committee to work to build out a set of options to be able to take in what the General Assembly gives us will be important.
And do we have a timeline on that?
By January 1. By our next meeting. This will,
15th?
I will send out the actions,
Okay.
but by our next meeting, those options need to be considered and presented to the.
I think it's the 15th.
Yeah, right.
Right. The next piece, I want to task the executive committee to work with our legislative members. And this is a strong one, to introduce a $1 million amendment in the General Assembly budget for the following initiatives. Strategic plan and independent 5-year assessment. I think we put that forward before. I think we need to put it before again, because I think there's a lot of opinions about what New College is and what it isn't in the Martinsville-Henry County community. We need to get outside of that, bring someone in, do an independent assessment. A part of the money we're going to ask for is to do that. The second is a student support specialist, student grant support, high bay redesign, and facility operations. These were things that were reported in the OP6 briefing. The past administration told Joe specifically not to ask for more money, but now that we have the opportunity with a new administration, I want those 4 things to be discussed by the executive committee and have a report on how we're going to do that with our legislative members. But I think we don't stop with what we got last year. We had $1 million coming out of the House, and I think we can go back and ask for that again, being that the administration has changed and taken opportunities where we can. Governance Committee, you're up next. I'm also requesting that the governance chair and the vice chair, Delegate Williams, Mark and Stone. This year, we have been hit with a lot of different things around governance, FOIA, bylaws, board interactions, inside and outside the board. I would like a report from you all using all data and resources to recommend updates to our governance bylaws and also our ethics standards. Marketing and outreach assignment. Lastly, Joe, I would like you to collaborate with the Marketing and Outreach Committee to estimate the cost and a timeline of a potential NCI name change. Now, we talked about a proposal here today, but I think one of the things that gets us caught around the axle is no one knows how to describe New College Institute on social media, in the papers, and be able to describe it back. So what I would like to understand is an estimate the cost and timeline of potential name change. Joe, you working with the marketing outreach committee, and explore legislative steps if needed. I've done some research on myself. I don't think a legislative action is needed, but I want the findings to be reported in January, with the focus of calling this what it is, a higher education center. Now, walking through what the different iterations of that is and the possibilities. I'm not announcing a name change, but I'm saying there's time for us to discuss and get the ball rolling on calling ourselves something different. Because I think the tag NCI just leads to confusion from the start. So if we write a 5-year strategy and we still have NCI in it, I think we're gonna run into the same confusion. So Joe, I would ask that you work with the marketing and outreach committee. And those are through the authorities vested in me through the chair. My charge is to the committee. I will write these up and get these out to each committee.
Okay.
And now there's no further business. I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So move.
Second.
To move in the proper second just before we adjourn, when I run a meeting too long, this is what I do. I do push-ups.
Oh, no.
For my team.
Or you buy the pizza.
I do push-ups. No, thank you all for your comments. It's been moved and probably second to adjourn.
Not yet. I just wanted to, this is just a comment to the comment that was made by President of the NAACP, Miss Naomi. Yeah, she mentioned that, this is a beloved staple in the community and people love it. But it's also to be noted that it's an inclusive environment. It's very inclusive of the needs of everybody. I just felt like I needed to say that because we're kind of like, I feel like we're bipartisan or something, like not really, but really. Right, so it's just stated that we appreciate the comments. I appreciate the comments. And looking forward to us, 2026. We're in year 2, but 2026 and just moving forward positively and quickly.
Mr. Chair.
Yes.
This is on record, but we're gonna charge them to do a name change. They wanna ask our friends in Richmond for $1.5 million extra.
Hey, for good reason, huh?
It's gonna be expensive, I'll tell you that.
Get a proper adjournment. Hold it. It's been moved in second to adjourn. All those in favor? Opposed? Thanks, everyone. Thanks, everyone online. Thanks for hanging with us.
Take care.
Good to see everybody.